On the back of one of the worst sessions in a while yesterday, we close out the day on Thursday at the worst levels since back in September of last year. We're lower once again this morning. Futures chopping around here right now, but set to extend these declines 2 days in a row. NASDAQ 100 has now gone 100 days, if you want to do the counting yourselves, all the way back to October, the last time we hit an all-time high. For the NASDAQ 100 specifically, we are more than 10% off the highs now. The composite itself, the 100, still about 9.8%. So on the verge of correction territory for the NASDAQ, both the composite and the 100. All eyes continue to be on this Middle East conflict and the back and forth rhetoric that we continue to have between the two sides. Trump doubling, tripling down on his comments yesterday, saying that they're begging to make a deal. Iran definitely not on that sort of commentary with him yesterday, to say the least. Individual movers all over the place again this morning, mostly in the energy sector. We had an initial move higher that has somewhat faded a little bit. We'll talk about that coming up. I mean, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, all with headlines to deal with this morning. Lots of AI things moving around so far. It's been one of those weeks, though, where we get a whole bunch of secondary, if you want to call them, economic data points, including one coming up this morning at 10 o'clock. We'll get Michigan consumer sentiment. Yet another look at inflation. This is a projection type of number. If you haven't been paying attention to Michigan consumer sentiment for a while, they do provide a 1-year and a 5-year inflation projection number. Those two can move the market with all things that are going on in the energy market these days. It'll be closely watched coming up this morning. So lots to consider, to say the least, wrapping up a week where we are now well below major moving averages on pretty much every chart I looked at today. Yep,
pretty much red all over my watch list as well. Brando, good morning, guys. Lots to talk about. Meta back in focus after one of its worst days yesterday. Amazon also in focus, as well as one of their major chip designers is leaving the company. Microsoft's freezing hiring. Oil's back up. Micron got destroyed yesterday and is negative again today on the back of that turbo quant algorithm from Google. Warner Brothers setting up a vote for the Paramount deal, and Target facing more backlash from some restructuring efforts that they had. Unity reporting as well. We're waiting on CCL, and we're waiting on the metals company as well.
Yeah, that Unity report was kind of interesting. There was more AI talk in that than I think a lot of people were expecting. But you mentioned this one as well. Nice day yesterday for Target. Not a lot of volatility or volume really behind this move, but we are higher here. One of few really looking like this so far this morning. There's a couple of notes on the tech sector, as I mentioned. Apple, one of those, made a nice move right at the close last night, back downside right now. Again, NVIDIA, as you said, Meta as well, back in the headlines today. So it's a wait and see, guys, when it comes to all things Middle East related, but some individual catalysts to look at today anyway. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I mean, it's not off to a good start unless, again, you're in oil. There's some kernels of strength. Yay, Unity, sort of, and it remains to be seen about CCL. I'm not that optimistic about them. Netflix is not red after raising prices across the board, and we'll see if that one can hold up. But the real story was just big cap tech getting wrecked yesterday. It was very specifically, you can single out Meta. I think that's fair to do. And then Microsoft, the entire IGV, huge reversal in some of the chip names. AMD started strong and ended up getting absolutely blasted. So it was a very extreme volatility day. And then we come into Friday where, hey, it's end of the week, options expiration, and that kind of thing. I think we had it was like morning chop at 9:30 and a lot of things, and then we found direction. I think it could be pretty similar. I think that first 15 minutes, or at least the first 5-10 minutes, could end up being a bit of a choppy one as people are trying to settle things out. And just keep an eye on USO. Like, we got that. If you looked at USO, most of the day we just trended up. Like, there was a turn at right about 2 o'clock when we were coming on there in the afternoon, but it just slowly trended higher all day long. That was it. Like, there was never any big pull. It was the same as the day before, just slowly trending higher the entire way. And if it doesn't do anything distinct, it really never gave you any indication that things were going to slow down. So, yeah, I expect we could see some chop again at the open. But once the trend's set, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we had that big short in the market all day and really paid out holding it. We'll see today, man. I mean, whoever voted yesterday for red, you win right now. I sort of thought the market would start a little green and then hit the red, but it looks like we're hitting the skids right away now, down 2/3. And yeah, the closer we get to open, the more red this market, I feel like, may get. Not being saved by any economic numbers whatsoever today. We saw at 10 o'clock, we have Michigan, but that's going to be like, the market will already be open for a half hour and potentially getting hit. I think key thing there is what Sharif mentioned there with Meta. I think, you know, it's in our note that it's not like, I forget, was it Evercore ISI? Someone came in there and mentioned that this is not like that tobacco-based moment, right, where everybody realizes they're going to be getting cancer and everything. This is more just here. Who was it there? Yeah, Evercore ISI. Okay, wow. I read something and remembered it. That's amazing. Yeah, just saying that there's a little bit of a woodshed moment here for Meta based on children's use of the platform and potential restrictions coming, and we'll see if. I guess class action lawsuits is what people are a little worried about. I don't think that's, I mean, that is what's caused this move down, but we still do have a lot of worries. I mean, these guys are spending probably the most, I think, out of all of the mega spenders there for CapEx, as we continue to watch out how that's going to eventually come to fruition for them. I mean, Llama hasn't been that great. We've been talking about Avocado and trying to make sense of where Meta is going to be. They dropped the Reality Labs or, some of their metaverse situations there. No longer, part of the story. Zuckerberg's made some mistakes, moving forward here, like everybody will. I mean, that's when you buy Instagram for like $1 billion and now it's worth like $1 trillion. Some people forget about those, but that's what got the stock to where it is. Now it's like, where are we going from here?
Well, that's the question.
And still down another 1% today, which is big. Like every time, like Meta down 1%. I mean, this is not. We saw yesterday. It's a company. Yeah, it's a $1.5 trillion company. So it's like you're getting hit every single day here.
Tesla, it's wrong to say that Tesla's market cap passed them, because I guess technically, if you're going down, it's like Meta went underneath Tesla, if more than anything else. It would be interesting to see if Tesla...
Yeah, Tesla didn't come up to Meta.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so different when...
I mean, it might be close
NVIDIA
now.
was catching people, but it was the other way around. I can't remember the last time we were talking in those types of terms, but that's where we're at. And you know what? Throw out the fact that while we're talking about things that looked pretty bad and prove, it's like guilty until proven innocent.
Oh, wow.
What have you done for me lately kind of a deal. So I'm going to start here. So remember, we were looking at this trend line yesterday, and we're like, remember the last time that Bitcoin had this bear flag, or I don't know what you call it when the flag is ascending up, but it's downward. It still looks like a bear flag to me. Maybe there's a different name for it. I wouldn't know. It doesn't really matter. It's what it tells you. But you go in this little up channel, and then it broke last time. And then that's when we got this test down into the 600s. Well, it was doing the exact same thing. What did we just do? And when I say just do, I do mean this morning, you broke that support. So bye-bye, and now we're sort of doing another little consolidation. So to me, as long as it's under 68, like there could be a decent-sized rally in Bitcoin. If it gets to that 68, I'm looking at as resistance here today. Be trading some iBit, I would suspect.
I just wanted to send this out here because the whole for no reason part is just incorrect. I know. I just wanted to say, look, there's always reasons for stock movement. And it's just, we talked about Robinhood and the correlation sort of to Bitcoin and to crypto and to the overall feeling of the market, right? I mean, the less money in people's hands and the more jittery they are about investments means less trading. Like how many of you, I mean, we have huge retail watching us, I mean, how many trades have you been making over the last 2 or 3 months compared to potentially what you were doing the average 3-month span in 25? So it's just like Robinhood had a huge run up when everything was rosy and, we were hitting, crazy winners on the daily, IPOs, everything last year, right? And now this year it's slowed down a little bit. So it's not to say that we don't think that all this can bounce. I mean, we talked about SoFi, Robinhood, some of the bank stocks as well, but it was just about that comment. I really do think that if Bitcoin was at 80,000 or something, Robinhood would probably be at $80, or something I don't know. There's not like a crazy correlation that exact, but it's just that's part of the feels. So as some of these more gambling-like assets start to hit the skids a little bit there, you are going to have names like Robinhood get back there down to the downside. So I think that's just part of par for the course. Yep. When you see everything going down. We talked about the XLF going down as well, and IBKR, Charles Schwab. It's not just Robinhood. It's a lot of this. And Brandon said that maybe some of the strength we want to look at today would be in some of the energy names, like an XOM, like a CVX, XLE, USO. Those are two more going to follow the price of oil. But XOM right now, it looks like it's going to be at this high opening up here today. Like we're very, very close. Yesterday's level looks like there was 167. I'll have to see if that was actually legit. But nice little movement upside for XOM. Layering into some bids might be a good idea here today, as oil just keeps on pumping higher. Like the NASDAQ, we highlight this. We came on the air here. And it's just like, okay, see ya. So we got about 15 to 20 minutes of straight downside pressure right now in the NASDAQ. We did get, yesterday, one of the stories that we could play off of here could be Apple. I mean, Apple yesterday did it end green, or it was close to flattish on the day when the NASDAQ was down yesterday, here, go to a 5-minute chart. NASDAQ was down 2.38%, and Apple was flattish. We had that big move up on rumors, and it looks like it's going to be confirmed that Siri will be able to play nice with many large language models, which did wind up okay. I didn't even realize you had Apple on your screen. End up with Google. So, Google got hit on that news there yesterday a little bit when we all thought that it was going to be, solely. I don't know if we ever thought that, but the news that was pumping out of Apple was that Gemini and Google and Apple were once again in bed together there, just like they were with Chrome, where Google would, send a little check or vice versa here for Siri, and they would come up with some sort of a deal, and that was really nice, and that helped rally both Apple and Google to some point. But then yesterday, we get sort of the opposite story there, that we're now going to be playing in a bigger sandbox. So yeah, Google to the downside, and Google at really great levels too. I mean,
and relatively cheap too.
What do we want to buy over here?
The thing is, like Apple, I'm not saying Apple's having the greatest day, but it's like only down 0.2. Like some things are standing out right now. Like I've already mentioned Netflix. I don't know why NEO's not down, whatever. Maybe the Chinese stocks aren't that bad today. And Apple, you just mentioned, only 0.2 down. Uber's only 0.2 down into a 0.7 on the NASDAQ. NVIDIA is actually green, believe it or not. Yeah. So there's just a few little things that are worth noting, like some of the destruction. Like NVIDIA didn't have a good day either, but some of the destruction was a little bit more distinct in places like AMD. And then we look over at the memory chip, the memory names. Micron, whoa, dark pool print, hello. It's obviously not up 7%, down 1 1/3. Micron, it's nothing to laugh about that this support got lost. I saw someone in the chat saying Robin, who used to have good support levels, now they're all getting busted. Well, when you have a very prolonged up move, right? Like you're going to have, like when you start unwinding, there's levels that get crashed through. Micron took out its big support yesterday. So that's a big one, and when it lost that 370, and like you can look at where you might think it could turn, but that doesn't mean that those levels are going to hold until they prove otherwise. So yeah, you're looking at a lot of destruction. Find some relative strength out there. I was a little surprised to see NVIDIA is actually flat today and slightly up. So maybe there's a little something there. It wasn't really on my radar, but I was shocked about this, Sharif. I thought for sure with another gap up in oil, that, oh yeah, this is going to be one of those days where like these things go absolutely ham. But your battle stock is just diddling in the absolute middle, like doing absolutely nothing. This is a...
Is that Sharif stock?
No, it's a small cap.
Oh, small cap stock.
Small cap oil stock. None of them really... Like, so we sustained an up move basically all day in oil. This thing got destroyed in the afternoon when there was nothing even happening. Like you're holding some of the highs. So it just goes to show they're not holding up all that well as we get this continued bounce.
No, we have.
You have to look at some other small caps.
Right here, I just want to say what happened to CrowdStrike here, and someone said that there might have been a new Claude model leak. Down 8% right now is CrowdStrike. Yeah, not good right here. Sorry, 7% now. I guess we must had a bad wick there. I don't know. This pre-market stuff is nuts. And then, just looking at in the space as well. So I expecting them all to get hit. I just called up CrowdStrike. Someone called it there in the chat. Palo Alto down 5% right here today as well. And I don't know if, new Claude bot, I mean, if you're training some sort of a model to build you a cybersecurity thing, I don't know. DKNG there, I just saw crossing. Oh, wow, $21. We talked about this the other day, and then this got really hit right back into some key levels. And then just to your point about Netflix, I think that Netflix can run. Actually, I have Netflix written down here. I only have 2 names written on here, and I have actually iBit long. We'll talk about Bitcoin long. And then Netflix long. So there we go, man. In a day where the market seems to be making that red move one more time, the only things I got written down are longs. And I got Netflix written down right here at $93. So you guys can go over and tell me what you're trying to trade. But over here, I wrote down already today that, yeah, man, we were going to look at a little bit of a Netflix situation long. So I said volatility seems to be up again here this morning, obviously. So Northwest says you like SPY over here. MSTR is looking, some wallpaper dude is looking at some wallpaper here. He likes MSTR. Watching NVIDIA and USO, says Sherman. Casper says keep it real today. OG, yes, my friend. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Looking weak for sure. And a couple of fake Trader TV Sean's commenting as well. So yeah, I really like Netflix. I like iBit long. And, we're going to have, I shouldn't say this, but I think we should have Michael on today. I didn't double check. Right there. But, good days ahead, man. We've had some great guests this week. And giving us some good trading ideas as well. But at the end of the day, nobody can tell you what to do. You got to figure it out for yourself. And, I guess we just all should have sold back in November. I mean, it's been a rough first quarter.
ARTL, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't buy that yesterday?
No, I didn't buy ARTL yesterday. But Artelo Biosciences is going a little bit ham. I'm not even seeing the story on this one yet. Maybe it hasn't been populated, or maybe there isn't one. We'll keep our ear to the ground. But up 100%. What's our float looking like? We'll try to give you that. 735,000 share float. Because why not? You don't actually have to. It's probably done some reverses. Yeah, this is done a reverse splits, which would explain it. So it's kind of a reverse split bounce play here. Watch out, since split, 780. $780, $8 looks like a bit of.
You know it's picking up a little bit. I'm going to say hi to everybody here on TikTok right now. 93 viewers, not bad. What's up, Bravely, over here as well, man. There's the TikTok. We're starting to kick it off right there. So we just say in the chat, hi, everybody, right there. And it's going to be a fun day again on TikTok. We want to thank all of our viewers over there watching us. And, grab it on TikTok, grab it here on YouTube. Whatever experience floats your boat, we are there. So, super chat. Then let's go then, Andre, man. We are in super chat mode right now.
What we got?
Or not.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There it is. Fang. Yeah, so more oil-related names over here. Yeah, I mean, you like the long in all of these names, and we can look at Diamondback Energy. That is Fang, of course. 204. Many of you are probably surprised that I know that Diamondback name is Fang. Look at this name.
Well, it's one of the best.
Yeah, I know. Oil. I mean, this is just keeps on moving there to the upside. So, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with holding on. And this looks like it's about to break. Oh, no, it's still got a little bit more ways to go up here. That 210 past highs from back in 2024. Not many oil names have, I don't know what was going on there in 24 because not many oil names I don't think have that peak right there. But 210, 212, good little level there. I would say there's no reason, especially as a lot of traders right now are looking for, things to hold, plays. You've really nailed this for the last couple months, that's for sure. So Fang, Diamondback Energy continues to be strong. I mean, I don't know enough about
all the oil charts. I was looking at Oxy today and CVX. It's like it's hard to it would be hard to pull the trigger buying up some of those tops.
Oh, that's if you're in now, it's a little late.
Yeah, like CVX needed to get that when the Venezuela thing happened. And thank you for the super chat there, Golf. And APD, this is one. It's obviously it's in a nice upward trend, but it's a little bit different. Like if you look at this is not blue skies. Every now and then you'll come across something that has one of the most obvious resistance points that Like, you don't have to tell anybody that someone is holding us under 300 bucks. Like, since March of last year, and then going into this false break in August of 300 bucks, and now like a triple top at 300, this does look like a potential breakout. But you know the thing about breakouts, it has to actually push through. Like, you wait for a breakout. You can anticipate a little bit, I suppose, maybe because it's holding some moving averages, like it's holding the 50 period. But you gotta, if you're into it, you got a golden cross going on with APD here. That 300 just looks like a big brick wall. On Fridays, it's usually trouble trying to break those brick walls at big monster optionable levels, especially when they're that big resistance. So, but you got a good look. It is a nice upward trend, kind of thing that you want to keep an eye on when it does, if and when it does eventually get that breakout. We have a lot to cover. You said we're going to have the NOS boss in there.
I double checked. The NOS boss will be in the building.
Sweetness. You know what else it is today?
What?
It's opening day for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yes, it is.
Who went to the World Series, by the way, in case you didn't know.
I'm at the Raptors game tonight, so it should be a fun one tonight.
It's going to be busy.
Yeah, it will be.
Because the Raptors are at home. The Jays are obviously at home for the opener, and then even the Scepters are playing in town. So, yeah, Toronto's going to be lit tonight, even though it's minus 14.
What?
Well, with the wind chill, it was.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah. I was saying it was cold this morning.
Yeah, it's pretty cold with the wind chill.
Yeah, it's got to get better around here. Yeah, there it is, frozen up.
So from the boys in blue, let's head back to the desk to the boys in white.
Yeah.
Well, that's not really white.
It's sort of.
No, it's like I don't know.
Not white.
No.
It actually looks white, though, yeah. Interesting. Pink. I like it. A couple other things just popping up in front of me right now. There's some Middle East headlines floating around, more rocket launches and whatnot taking place. Currently, I just brought up the market here, absolutely no reaction whatsoever. We're getting to that point where even those types of headlines do not move the index anyways. We're back to basically session lows here, definitely below yesterday. If you zoom out a little bit, there is this low, 662, to watch at some point, maybe today. I mean, there's a couple other headlines. Shout out to our friends over at Intercontinental Exchange, ICE. It's the ticker. I don't know what you want me to do. Closing that $600 million investment into Polymarket. So if you're not familiar with the Intercontinental Exchange, they own the New York Stock Exchange, among many, many others. So now they're adding a huge investment here, $600 million into Polymarket. It just kind of shows that the legitimacy of this, first off, in the the growth projection.
I've always been kind of astonished by the accuracy of some of these prediction markets, Breno. They're quite accurate. Whether or not you were talking about the Netflix deal or the IEPA tariffs, they seem to get it right every single time. Starting with the election, of course, back in late 24. But yeah, I know ICE more from Sean and Neil's vests that they have on their desk there. Is that a nice vest, Neil? Okay, my mistake.
ICE is in the locker.
But yeah, that is a good deal. And we've seen a lot more of these gambling names, whether it's Flutter or DraftKings, also want to get into the prediction markets. So lucrative, is it?
Yeah, Netflix moving up here, $94 just hearing coming into play. Yeah, back to essentially session highs, as we said, raising prices across the board. Conveniently just ahead of this Ronda Rousey fight coming up.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go, exactly. Yeah. Well, the sports is going to cost them some money. Yeah. As we've seen before with Amazon and the NBA, there's hyperscalers that are all competing for this, and they got a lot of money, so Netflix has to ante up. But I want to bring everybody's attention to this small cap gapper that's really going right now, guys. ARTL, Neil brought this to you. This is really, really going. It's 157%, 875. This one could see 10 shortly. So trade this one carefully, but this one's on the breakout.
And tons of volume behind that as well, I was seeing as well. It's worth noting, we talked about the SpaceX IPO at some point in the short term. Anthropic coming out this morning, kicking the tires on maybe October, which is a little bit, I think, ahead of schedule for what people were saying earlier about Anthropic specifically. I heard December, maybe end of the year kind of thing. So October would be the second huge one, at the latter half of this year.
And they got a bit of a W yesterday, winning, at least at the court of first instance, against the Pentagon, designating them as a supply chain risk. So we'll have to see how that obviously doesn't appeal. This is probably not the end of the story, but at least a W for them locally.
And then, yeah, if you're watching cybersecurity this morning, it looks like, anyways, lots of people talking about this. this Claude Code, new version of Claude Code specifically, sending all the cybersecurity stocks lower this morning.
Oh, Brendo, here's the headline for ARTL. It's coming in now.
Sure.
So they've withdrawn registration for a stock offerings. No securities were issued or sold.
That'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of the opposite of an offering. There you go, guys.
So we'll keep an eye on ARTL. Let's jump over to Joe for some options action.
All right, guys, good morning and happy Friday. Let's take a look at what we have from an action standpoint in the derivatives world. We're going to kick things off with Meta, another tough day for this social media giant. Now, moving forward, guys, open interest sitting around 7,830 and volume around 10,300. Now, we're far, far away from this point. $610 strike price. These contracts are worth absolutely nothing. And we were looking at some of the at-the-money calls yesterday as well, too. Still worth something, but not very much. They've lost over 70% of their value. So it's been a really tough look here in META. Moving forward, bid in the ask once again, $1 spread, but the daily options volume here, the DV, 1.63 million contracts open and closed on META throughout the expiration cycle strike prices. All right, guys, Delta 007, we had to put that one in there, and then sure enough, it's not anything considering we're so far out of the money here this morning, and you have little to no gamma exposure, but we do have an increase at the money IV. All right, so Meta not looking too good here, guys. Moving forward, the SPY. Tough session once again here. We had Katinaman with the short on the TQQQs, and the SPY was following as well. Open interest sitting 33,400 there, and then volume 48,400. Now, as for the 660 strike price, guys, relatively tight. But, I mean, the bid and the ask is actually pretty wide for a SPY contract, sitting at $5, and your DV, your daily volume, sitting around 13 million open and closed contracts. Your delta sitting at that $4 metric, which isn't substantial whatsoever, and then you almost have little to no gamma exposure. Slight uptick in the implied volatility, but I would look to see a little bit more. I don't think this is anything really out of the ordinary, but if we continue to slide throughout the intraday session and we get that expansion, you'll see an uptick in implied volatility. But 27%, it is slightly elevated, but nothing substantial, as I just mentioned. We can typically see that around 23 to 25%, maybe even in the 20s or lower 20s. But other than that, I'm not too worried just yet because we can use implied volatility as a gauge as well to see, hey, are we looking to climb higher or is there going to be some more potential downside? But we will be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
And we do expect some, I'm sure there's going to be some interesting names on the downgrade side. Maybe you'll get an upgrade in Netflix because everybody on the desk seems to like this one to the long side. It is getting a little bit of a pop. It was already, look, we already knew about this price increase in the movement yesterday, and it respected the volume weighted average price, which I'm going to like if we get any kind of a retest of it. But this looks a little bit better. In addition, we almost forget that they got $2.8 billion after that deal. Sorry, $2.8 billion after the Warner Brothers deal went the other way. So like that was already a net benefit for them they're going to see in the next quarter, in addition to being able to raise prices and generate some revenue. Then you throw on the fact that, well, it's breaking a bit of it's not really a trend, but a pullback from 100 is the best way to put it. It's a pullback from 100, and it's breaking out of that in here today. Like that support at 93 gives you like some trend line support. So I think this is one of the dip and rip kind of stocks that makes a heck of a lot of sense to me. You just have to find relative strength. And if you're looking for longs, I mean, there's going to be small cappers that are always out there. There's going to be energy names abundantly that are going to be strong. Unity had good news. Maybe CCL somehow magically has a really good report this morning. There's going to be other things out there, but this one already standing out and looking to take out some pretty big levels. Hopefully, it'll be able to get into this 96 again, but I want it to dip before it does that. And hey, the good news on the futures, if there's going to be good news, down 0.6%. The NASDAQ just kind of double bottom. It bounced off the low again. We're still in a downtrend, but we've held that low pretty much the last hour and a half or so. So we're not doing great, but at least we haven't plunged and made a fresh low. And there's that old line. you don't break the low, there's only one place to go.
Yeah, I'm just getting the sticky note out now. Yeah, the number one name on there is going to be iBit, and then number two is going to be Netflix, and then we have silver on here as well. Silver up 1.2% today. We'll see what happens near the $62 mark here for SLV. So they're up, so that's nice. Silver up, gold up today as well. So, maybe there's a little bit of a bigger flight today to something that they call safety here in gold and silver, but I don't think silver is necessarily a safe asset these days, but gold is supposed to be, in a nice move down there for GLD recently. You don't see these kind of, dramatic moves often. Even if we just go back to here from March, so just this month alone, we actually had that stat that this was the worst month since 2008 for gold, down now 18%. So that's not going to bode well for any of the gold sort of bulls out there, or gold bugs, I guess they call them. 400, we'll see if that wants to hold. Remember, this is GLD, so this is not attached exactly to the price of an ounce here, but right there, GLD, $400 bouncing off. I don't think we had that wick down to 380, but at the end of the day, you're making a move back into the 200 period moving average. Nice to see a little bit of a bounce back here today for GLD. All right, back over the desk, it's Michael Noss time.
Yeah, let's continue the conversation we started back on Monday. If you remember it was 4 weeks at that point, Michael Noss, we were talking about for the indexes specifically. Yep. And then we said, what happens if we dig a little bit deeper and look at sectors specifically? Is there any difference in the actual outcome, of this concept? You may have to redo this over the weekend. You're probably going to have to redo this over the weekend and add another one to the count here, because barring some sort of crazy tweet or something, this is going to be a red week too.
Well, and I think we tried the tweet after the close yesterday, and it seems like we don't care anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, to summarize, what I brought on Monday was just a simple strategy of what happens when the SPY is down 4 weeks in a row if you just buy it and hold for a week. And here's just a basic chart with some examples of, you're buying and then you're just selling a little bit later after a little bit of a bounce. And we found that it was a pretty decent win rate. It was around 65%, give or take. I made one tweak from there, which we'll talk about. And then, like we talked about on Monday, Brendan was interesting. What happens if you ran the individual sectors? And I had an assumption that, the SPY is mostly large cap tech. So large cap tech's probably going to do great. And maybe everything else is, in the middle or not that interesting. And to spoil the end a bit, I was way off, which is, I think, a really good lesson and a beauty of looking at data and numbers and trying to get kind of feels out of the way. So the next chart I have here, this is what I brought on Monday. This was the basic idea of, hey, if we're down 4 weeks in a row on the SPY and we just buy it and then we sell it next week, what happens? And this is the equity curve. You can see not enough trades that this is like a trading style that would be your bread and butter, but maybe something that you just kind of do on top of everything else that you're doing. If you see this phenomenon happening, because as you can see, it's fairly rare, then you just kind of take a trade if you like the setup or what's going on in the news or whatever it is. Now, what I noticed was, if you look at the chart, it's, 2000, 2008 was kind of rough. Some of the other periods were a little bit rough as well. So I just said, okay, what if we added a trend filter, a very basic trend filter, and saying, okay, we're looking at a weekly chart. So what if we're above the 50-week moving average, which is going to be roughly the 200-day moving average, give or take, calculated a little bit differently. But, again, the 50-week moving average. And the next chart is just what that one simple addition has made. And you can see you make less money. There's less trades overall, but an overall smoother equity curve. And just wanted to show this as a way just to say, okay, sometimes a very simple tweak that makes a lot of sense, I think, to a lot of people out there, right? You don't want to buy 4 weeks down in a row during 2008. You'd rather buy it when we're in a nice uptrend, can really kind of smooth results and smooth equity curves. But now for the experiment. So I thought right away, the next chart here is XLK. So you guys probably heard me Monday. I said, the SPY is mostly tech. So XLK is your tech weighting of the SPY. I said, so this is probably going to move quite similar to what those results were. And you can see how completely wrong I was. The equity curve does nothing until just very, very recently, around 2020 or so. And then it becomes a pretty good trading strategy. But before then, you're talking 50% winners, 55, I think, and just not really an equity curve I'd want to trade. You can't be underwater for a decade and then finally make money at the end of that. So the next chart, I went to the complete other end and I said, okay, well, what about XLU? So this is our most boring sector out there. It is utilities, it is gas and electric and water and things that generally people consider defensive assets on the other side of that. And this equity curve looks even better than the S&P 500. And then so I said, okay, well, let's continue to look at boring stuff. So the last chart here is XLP, which is our consumer staples. And this looks great as well. This is, your Coca-Colas, your General Mills, that type of thing. And the fact it's not that I would, necessarily trade these in these sectors. I think I like the S&P 500 as a whole, because then if something catastrophic happens, at least I just bought the S&P 500. And I know at some point, it's probably not going to go to zero. And if it does, I've got other problems than the money I took in that S&P 500 trade. But what's very interesting here to me is that my initial thought, my initial assumption was way wrong. And one of the main benefits of living in a world now where we have the ability to run these tests fairly simply, with tons of different softwares out there, you could use AI to program the backtest. You can get data and kind of raw objective measurements very, very simple. So I had an assumption. It was dead wrong. I can completely change my mind and say, well, maybe it's an area that works more in the defensive space. And that allows me now to go down a little bit of a different road than I probably would have gone initially, which I would be looking at the highest beta stocks out there to buy. Well, now maybe I'm going to look at the lowest beta stocks out there to buy if these sectors are 4 weeks down in a row. I don't know if this last chart made it. I made the addition a little bit after I sent it. Oh, perfect. And this is the XLP. So this is a chart as of what we saw as of yesterday. Or as of this morning, sorry. So if this closes red, this is a weekly chart, it closes red, then we are getting this trigger. So for anyone who is interested, we have, based off the historical backtest, a roughly 65% chance that after this fourth red week in the XLP, that we get some sort of a bounce. And this time might be a little bit different because we had this huge surge in the XLP when it came to Claude taking everybody's jobs. So I don't know if this one's going to work a little bit differently, but I just wanted to give kind of one actionable thing from the back test. And Brendan's right. Now I got to go back and I got to say, well, what happens if we're down 5 weeks in a row? Because it looks like that's what's in store for us.
Yeah, barring some sort of miracle maybe coming today. I mean, it's 65%. It's actually really high. I mean, the other one was 70, 73, 78, something like that.
Yeah.
If you zoom out to the overall market, just remind everyone, what was the percentage, the win-loss ratio on the S&P?
For the S&P 500 as a whole,
yeah,
it was around 70% if you add that trend filter into it.
Okay.
Which, if you think about it, if you just look at a random distribution, most weeks it's going to be like 50% up, 50% down, right? It's give or take. More up than down over time, but not a significant amount. So that's always what you're looking at for your baseline. It's kind of like what I say, if anyone brings you a stat that says, oh, when this happens, the S&P 500's up 70% of the time 1 year later. Well, the S&P 500's always up 70% of the time 1 year later. So we're looking for a baseline, which is about random week to week in the market, and a significant move above that baseline, which it looks like we get when we're down this 4 weeks in a row. Makes sense if you just want to think about why. It's, if you're short and the market goes down 4 weeks in a row, probably going to take some profits. That might lead to a little bit of a short-term bounce.
Something like this XLP, though, I mean, that's a pretty good-looking chart, holding above prior resistance and turning into support at this point. Just kind of outline the concept here again. This is not I'm buying this here and holding it for the next 20 years type of idea, specifically just targeting a bounce.
Yeah, the actual back test I did, and I tried when I brought the test to you guys on Monday, I tried 1 week. So basically you're buying it on Friday if it's closing, and holding it for 1 week, and then I did 2 weeks, and I think I did 4 weeks, and they were all positive. But the further out in time you went, the less positive it was, because by definition you're counter trend trading. So yeah, you're looking for a very short-term bounce. And I like that you talked about the chart, because that's where I see the biggest benefit of data and systematic trading. Is a lot of people think, when I talk about being a quant and a systematic trader, that we just kind of shut off our brains and blindly follow what we're seeing in the data. But if you think of it more as a synergistic thing, where I have went back and proven that there's a better than 50-50 chance we're going to bounce next week. If you went through that and then you just use the technical analysis skills you already have and knowing what's happening in the news and knowing what's going on, then you may look at something like XLP and say, well, data says there's a 65% chance we're higher next week. I see exactly what you're seeing, Brendan, where we're pulling back to this kind of breakout area that we had. And Staples might be a really kind of comfy place to put some money in based off of what's going on, in the world and in the Middle East. So you take all of these things and you just do a weight of the evidence approach, not just because the numbers say, or not just because the chart says, but the more things that kind of stack up, you go, okay, maybe this is a place that I'm okay risking some money in.
And look, at the end of the day, as you said, in these current conditions, maybe simpler is better for the short term, trying not to overthink things and trying not to, put too much to work in the short term and take advantage of interesting data points instead. Great stuff. Yeah. Michael Noss, have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday.
Talk to you on Monday. Have a good one, guys.
Buy the dip, he says. You know what? But it does make sense, right? If you have an extended move in any sense in the overall market to the downside, well, if in the long run, everyone always says the market goes up in the long run, there's going to be these bounces. They don't necessarily mean that you've hit a temporary bottom, but they can give you a place to look for some things to flip into the long. And speaking of long, we got a super chat here from a golf franchise again here, if we can. Do y'all think I can get another 30 points out of the LYB long? You're up $23 points. Dollars points, same thing. You say whatever you want. Now overall, well, when you just look at this chart, this actually, I have a monthly chart up, by the way. I don't really know your time frame, but the monthly chart is the one that shows the most sense. Oh, Netflix is going to hit 95 any second now. You have this good double bottom on the monthly, but then you look at it, and it's really, it really was holding the 50 period on the monthly, and then it broke. That's when you got the acceleration. So you had support, acceleration down. It's getting into that 50 period. So technically, you obviously want to, you're saying you want to shoot for up here, that 100 level for the resistance. But there is also the 50 to at least consider. But there's nothing wrong with being in the money and having a good problem to have. I've always been one of those, because I don't really swing trade very often, but if I'm in trend break swing trades, I usually play it to the moving average. So if I'm doing it on a monthly time frame, I'd be playing it to, that's usually what I would do. If I see resistance at a major moving average, that means I've kind of bottom picked something. If it's underneath that, it's not really upward trending. So that's usually how I would roll. But I think you got a great one in there for sure. And I don't know if it's going to be on the upgrades and downgrades list, but that stock at LYB been upgraded the last couple of months.
Good stuff. No, I don't believe it is going to be today, Neil. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. Relatively quiet. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades and some lowering of price targets. Now, Nokia getting his price target lowered and a downgrade here, guys, from outperform to underperform. And that's going to be euro, $6.85 or 6.85 euros there. And then sure enough, Unity releasing that they're going to be coming above prior guidance with a 13% pop roughly on yesterday's close. Big time move in Unity Software, BTIG giving them a price target being lowered from $41 to $39. And then we have Wix.com, price target being lowered from $114 to $91 by JP Morgan. And then we have Vital Farms, Telsey Advisory Group, lowering that price target from $35 to $20, guys. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the upgrades. TripAdvisor getting the nod here, guys, going from a neutral to a buy by B of A. You're up 3 3/4 roughly. Price target increase from $14 to $15 as well. Now, Cord Energy also getting the nod. Equal weight to overweight by Morgan Stanley. You're positive 1% here this morning. And that price target was increased from $114 to $168. Now, SPX Technologies going from a hold to a buy with a price target of $244. And then we have Teleflex. Teleflex giving them the upgrade. Raymond James giving Teleflex the upgrade. Market perform to outperform with a price target of $128. We're up 1.5% here this morning.
You know what's interesting? The most bullish looking chart, of course, is one that was on the downgrades list because Unity.
Well, they had earnings.
Yeah, with those revised numbers looking pretty good. 14%, it's up. And look, I know Unity hasn't been worthy of the Unity in a very long time, but today, well, at least hopefully today, because if the market goes down forever, it's not going to matter. You got a nice double bottom on the daily at 17. Here, you've already bounced off a prior resistance level in the pre-market at 19 bucks. It's not the greatest in terms of volume. Like it actually has right now a 4-cent spread on a $20 stock. So, you know, liquidity is going to come in at the open, which is fine. But as long as this can hold 19, this is worth a watch because at least you don't have to worry about, you know, does it have relative strength? Like today, like for someone, poor timing, unfortunately, for whomever gives it the downgrade, right? I'm assuming they do that before the revised numbers. I'd have to assume, otherwise it's just bold. But Unity, at least you're getting a sign of strength, you're getting a positive catalyst, and you have, even if we go sideways, right? Like if we have a day where it's more of a chop fest than anything else after yesterday's volatility, at least you're looking at something like that's another reason we're looking at Netflix today. Like Netflix is moving regardless. Unity is going to move regardless. So if we end up with a disappointing sideways choppy kind of day, you at least are going to be in the right space. And if it caught an analyst off guard, then I suppose that's not too bad either.
Just looking here, yeah, Netflix right there is just getting into $95. I mean, yeah, like, again, you write down the sticky note literally at 93.40s right into here, and I put down $93, and now you see Netflix is absolutely a pump right now through. So there it is, Netflix 93 long. Good base early. I mean, that's what I wrote down. You can go find the sticky note at Trader TV Sean. But yeah, good base early, and now it's way off. So there goes Netflix. As people looking to trade something to the long side, it looks like Netflix will be the one to be chosen today. I'm still going to sit back in here in case we do get a little move down, looking to get longer around $93 for Netflix. So that would be a trade for me there. And then also looking at NVDA short. But again, like I wrote down 173 short right into yesterday's sort of bump there. That's 172.50. We take that. Yeah, so it's funny because the two names that I wrote down on here, we wrote down iBit. iBit's not doing anything. But I write down the NVIDIA short. That's already printing. And then the Netflix long, which is already printing. And it's kind of just took off without us right here. So let's wait to see what this market winds up doing. Not much going on now, down 0.7. We've already had sort of this dramatic whoosh there. And then when we first boom there, we came on air, that happened, and right now you're looking like you are going to think about anyways breaking this pre-market low, and yeah, then that's going to be a problem. Probably short again today. I think it's going to be another risk-off day unless you can find specific names, and that's what we're going to try to do right here, right now. Quickly into oil, then I'll throw it back over there, see what the guys are up to. The K contract right now was up a couple percentage points earlier, still up 2.5 right now as we, we'll wait to see if there's any sort of an action. We did have Donald Trump yesterday going to April 6th. He's saying he's going to hold off on the infrastructure bombing there in Iraq and Iran. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with all of that talk as 96.50, the low tick right now for oil this morning. So yeah, I think we had Steve on yesterday, was talking about how, grabbing some of those, calls into the weekend, puts into the weekend, and then, nibbling on things. So we'll have to wait to see if that holds true here. Hoping for some sort of a good weekend full of better information coming out of the Middle East.
We keep looking for like good information or like relative strength of things that look good. I just saw in the chat, and this is also true, Josh West. Gold doesn't look that bad this morning. Like we're sitting on the lows. Obviously, we're getting a little bit of a bump. While we've been slowly, gently trending down all morning, gold has been battling back up a little bit, and you haven't really seen that. Like whenever we've seen strength in oil, really the reflecting strength that it caused in the dollar has been bad for the metals, unfortunately. And at least today, like maybe we get one of those days where it can buck the trend. That remains to be seen at the open, but I don't know I haven't looked at silver yet. But gold uptrend as when the market just hit the NASDAQ just hit the lows again. Actually, silver not as good, still up, but not as good in terms of trending up. So it looks like gold is doing a little bit better than silver, worth keeping an eye on for sure. But yeah, there's I want to go back, just if we can, like backtrack to that the cybersecurity names for a quick little second, because like Crowd in particular, it gets down 6% right now, and just the way that it will happen to line up, if it goes SSR, it's gonna be at the February low. So this has a decent chance to retest that. And you throw it at the Friday, $350 is going to be a pretty big level regardless. So on the back of the mind, CrowdStrike, SSR, and 350 are kind of lining up here as well. It's not the kind of thing to put on the note. It would take another extreme move. But if you don't think that something can fall 10% when it's already down 6.5, we weren't paying attention to yesterday.
All right, so here we go. Let's get you guys a little active here in the chat. All right, custom poll is now active. All right, option one, you're going to be sitting on cash and just being patient, right? I mean, this is what today's trade. This is just today's trade. You know, what are you guys going to be doing? Sitting on your hands, basically, waiting for some opportunities to get in there, both long or short? Or are you going to be patient and wait for your longs right there? And I have some ideas written down for myself, too. I have iBit waiting for the long. I'm trying to be patient waiting for the Netflix long. Or are you going to be looking for shorts? And if you're looking for shorts, you know, maybe you're waiting for that NVIDIA pop to 173, like I was thinking about. Maybe you're looking at that CrowdStrike as well. So get the votes going right now. This is it. So it looks like we're going a third right now. Pretty good. This leads me to believe that we're pretty mixed right now in what we're thinking about. 29%, 25%, 45%. So it looks like we're actually looking for a little bit of longs rather than the shorts today, guys. So, you know, thanks for getting those votes in there. And again, if you are on TikTok or anywhere you're watching us, Instagram Live, wherever you are, make sure that you do hit your vote. It will count. So put in whatever you've got going on right now, even if you're watching on TikTok radio, which I'm going to call up. I have to load the chat here going on there. Make your votes, whatever you vote for here in TikTok. This is everybody that's here today. Family, Sylvia's here, Mr. Felix is here. Whatever you're doing, man, hit it in TikTok and your vote will count as well. So there it is. Oh, what's up? Melik, who votes 3 right there. He's looking for some shorts over there in TikTok. So TikTok land. Good job there. Thanks, everybody, for getting this vote going. So right now, it's sitting on cash or looking for longs right there. 75% of our audience either sitting on cash or looking for longs. The shorts don't got the votes yet there today, guys. We'll put that vote back up there in a little while and see where we can go with that poll. But there it is, man. Thanks for hitting those buttons and letting everybody know, you know, what you guys are looking for. So cash and longs today winning the day. So it should be interesting.
No one ever wants to short the lows. It's one of those, it's not a popular
It's just looking
thing
for
to
shorts.
do.
You know,
Yeah, it's tough because it's tough because I think a lot of times if you're day trading, I like SMCI for a short, but I like Netflix for a long. You know, like you'll have a little bit of that going on. And then maybe you like USO. So as long as you have an idea of like where you see strength, where you see weakness, I think you will be absolutely fine. By the way, that ARTL just hit $9. It's still going absolutely ham. Not only did it break out, it just bounced off VWAP. So holding above VWAP, that's what Sharif will like, and that's what Luis will not like, and then getting back into 9. So there's going to be something for everybody today, because maybe you're a small cap trader, and then you like this thing long, or maybe you're bold enough to actually like it for a short. Not sure if that's going to be one that people will like for the short side, but hey, to each their own. Sharif, even you short small cappers now sometimes.
Even you.
I'm trying, Neil. Kind of sometimes tough to get your hands on them right in time, but yeah, been giving it a try, especially when they set up, Brendo.
I mean, the market just goes down every day. You got to like stop swimming against the flow.
And Luis pointed out, like when he comes on the midday, he's like, most of these small cap gappers, when you look at them statistically, they will go green to red. So, shorting is statistically advantageous.
Yeah, and trying to have something. I was talking to him about that, trying to have something for the entire day almost because of that simple percentage number. Worth noting, market trying to bounce here off session lows. We did make a new low through 642 there on the SPY, but trying to bounce a little bit back to the upside. I don't know if this means anything, but just another fun random fact for the market. As per Bespoke on X, Bespoke Invest, great follow. Yesterday was the 9th red Thursday in a row.
Okay.
I guess in a downtrend, that's not really that surprising.
Interesting.
But 9 Thursdays, not necessarily the week, It's only been 4 or 5 weeks, but 9 Thursdays in a row.
Yeah, I'd like to know, is Friday green? Do people like to leave off the week on a green note? Yeah. I find personally, just from trading-wise, Thursday is always my worst day. It's kind of like right at the tail end of the week. You don't have, you know, the weekend tomorrow, so there's still another day. Yeah. I find Thursday to be the toughest day for me personally.
Market not liking it right now. Thursday's not the day to buy, apparently, anyways, at this point. I was kind of similar. I was watching an interview with Howard Marks of Oaktree last night, and he actually threw out an interesting stat. I have no data to back this up, so his word, not mine. But he was essentially saying that if you buy the S&P 500, historically, you buy the S&P 500 going back to the beginning of time, when the PE is 23 or above, the average 10-year return thereafter is 2 to minus 2%. As of the close yesterday, we're at 26.
So not yet.
On the S&P 500. So, I mean, if you do the math, it's 23%, I think, to go downside still, which, you know, is probably not even going to happen. I mean, the market's expensive, but obviously not the only thing that matters in this conversation at this point, but I thought that was interesting.
No, but that's interesting. You and I have talked about this multiple times. We both buy indexes, and we were both trying to be strategic about where we pick up the index. You know, some people, they get in on the first red day of the week, or they need a certain percentage off highs for them to hit the buy button. So I've always found this to be a bit more nuanced, right? Everybody's got their own strategy, but yeah, it's interesting. A lot of analysts have been saying we're richly valued at these multiples. Whether you're looking at the Mag 7 or you're looking at the market in general, it's richly valued.
I mean, it's been that way for you know, a few years now. That's nothing new, but yeah, I thought that was interesting from him. NVIDIA also just starting to bounce here. A little bit of volume coming back in. It's not really doing a heck of a lot, but bounced off session lows, trying to get back to the upside. Yesterday was really ugly for NVIDIA specifically. Was holding up a little bit better than the rest this morning, but trying to fade here.
Look at this range. I mean, if we can put this up, Andre. This range, we have been in this range, Brenda, I want to say since July, late July, early August of 2025. We're at the 200 period right now, and we're at the lower end of the range. So if you feel NVIDIA holds up at these levels, well, it held up before at this 170-ish, high 160-ish level. I mean, on this morning with Morgan Brennan on Morning Call, that she had a technical analyst on this morning and is basically saying we are at that critical level of support on NVIDIA. It has to hold here. It's at the 200 exponential. I don't know where the simple is, but that range is pretty obvious, and we're going on a year of holding this range.
It's
almost in July.
Tough when the market is the key, maybe from a technical standpoint going forward. This did absolutely nothing for the stock, but it's worth noting AAL back to the lows here as well. You've been raving about WestJet in this country because of Starlink and the in-flight experience. Another one about to connect, it looks like, as well. So AAL in talks with both Starlink and Amazon's Leo to revamp their in-flight internet experience. You're off to the sunny south next week. Yes. Is it a WestJet flight?
It's a WestJet flight, and I made absolutely certain of that, Brendo. I wasn't going to accept anything else. No, quite frankly, I don't want to keep raving about it, but it's fantastic. The latency is not what you would expect. It's pretty quick. The speed is ridiculous. You have no buffering whatsoever in the videos. And the beautiful thing is about YouTube, you know, you catch that 20-minute, 30-minute video, a bunch of those, all of a sudden you're home. Separately, I just wanted to say, I was looking at Starlink yesterday just for informational purposes to see if I wanted to get Starlink in my area, what it would cost me. 400 megabits, that's about half the speed that I have with Rogers. I have a gig, right? So, but still pretty good, right? It'll cost me $125 a month, which isn't that's dissimilar.
That's normal,
Exactly, than what I'm paying. Moreover, I get a free travel one as well, which is like a $400 value, meaning, you know, if you go anywhere up north, the cottage, and there's plenty of places like that in Canada, you're connected. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
So yeah, AAL potentially going to upgrade if you're planning a flight in the next couple of months here, maybe the internet experience, because quite frankly, every other airline is just absolute garbage at this point for the point in time we're at with technology. Like, come on. It's dial-up at best.
You can barely even get a message through. Like, you're sitting there waiting for the delivered, you know, message on the bottom. It's
like, how are they all not doing this at this point?
I don't know.
It's crazy. So, I mean, AAL not moving on that, but interesting, guys, going forward.
I looked at Starlink as well. I'm getting the 1.5 gigabyte fiber in my house, and it's $80 a month. So until we get a little cheaper on Starlink, I think Starlink has advantages because you can travel. You can buy like something to travel with it and create like little hotspots with it and everything like that. So I think that part's pretty cool, especially if that's something you can do. You know, traveling with the kids in the car or whatever, and you know, we just hotspot our phones.
Or if you don't
we have unlimited data, but yeah, here in North America, we're probably pretty.
My sister-in-law was like 6 hours. No, it's like it's deep. They literally call it Deep River. Like if a place is called a Deep River, it's probably far away from most of the humanity. But no, but they use Starlink and it's fantastic and it's great for them. I think it's a really cool product. We were just talking about a startup. Talking about launching things into air. There's an actual startup that is launching that aims to launch mirrors into air, into orbit, and then refract sunlight to locations on demand. Like you would ask for sunlight in your location, and then 30 minutes later you would get it. Like the things that are happening are all very cool. But if we're going, you know, if we're kind of bringing this sort of back, I know you were looking at AAL there just a second ago, but yeah, this isn't looking good, but that's probably not the travel or kind of name that we're going to be looking at today.
Because everything's getting
in 15 minutes. Well, I shouldn't say in 15 minutes because I don't know when they're going to report. It's usually between now and 9, somewhere in the next 15 minutes, CCL should be reporting. And we just hit another fresh low, and the NASDAQ just happened, S&P as well.
Everything's falling. NVIDIA's going to break 170.
We're already down 2.5 here. Like, this is unthreatened. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Maybe CCL is a good report. It'd be nice to be able to talk about the numbers here, but watch out for this. If there's a travel name worth watching today, to me, it's going to be CCL after earnings, especially if it threatens this flat bottom here. But just nothing is holding up right now. I mean, Netflix is making a hold. USO's holding up pretty nicely, but that's not really helping most people's portfolios. Another down day, it looks like, heading into this open. It's already 9 o'clock though, so look, we have our watch list to go through. We're going to do the free watch list, I should say, to get through. And as I said, in sometime in the next 10-15 minutes, we'll get some earnings from CCL, and I expect some volatility there. Obviously, it's a little crazy to try and trade that in that first 15 minutes. And then remember, they'll have their call during the open. But I would expect some volatility. NCLH should move around as well. And they're going to be in play. They're in play regardless because of oil and what's going on in the Middle East. But yeah, it's going to be a big one, I expect. I could see 7 to 10% back and forth on CCL for a few minutes at least. But let's head on back to the desk, talk about these futures that are tanking again.
I don't really have anything good to say, sadly. SPY, it's obviously on a breakdown. There's no more consolidation at the top. We lost the November lows, and there's really, quite frankly, no area of support unless you look at that 620 area. That was the area that we put in August as an area low. Below that, we're looking at 610 as the other kind of flat top that we couldn't break through in late January, early February of last year. This is the daily chart on the SPY, guys. We're below the 200. We've broken below the 200, the November area low. We're looking at 620 as a general area of support. Probably not on the day, of course, but this is what the chart is showing on the daily.
Yeah, I mean, most daily charts yesterday were not good at all. If you haven't done so yet, grab the watch list. Link is below. Second link in the description down below will get you to the sign-up page that you need an email address, and you can get your homework done for you. We send that to you every single morning, and then you come join us at 8 o'clock. Meta was absolutely broken yesterday, to say the least. Well, I was trying to find, there it is, 550. There was a tiny bounce right at about lunchtime, I guess, and then we just gave that up too. And then it came back to 550 right at the end of the day. But this is, I mean, dare I say, fundamentally bad for this company.
Yeah. People are making comparisons. I don't know how I feel about these comparisons quite yet until you see a bit more. But they're making comparisons to the litigation in the 90s with the tobacco industry. Yeah. And we know what that did to the tobacco industry for like 2 decades before they were able to shift. So look, I'm not going to start off with the bad one first. Just quickly here, Meta's ramping up their CapEx for their West Texas data center. They were going to spend $1.5 billion. Now they're going to spend $10 billion. You can look at that however you want. Is it more risk with aggressive CapEx and possible headwinds? But that's what they announced. They want to get to about 1 gigawatt. The other one, the other story that really kind of set Meta down yesterday is now 2 back-to-back jury verdicts found Meta liable for harms related to its platform. The first one is, of course, a New Mexico jury awarding $375 million in damages for a case tied to a minor. The LA case awarded $6 million linking social media use to mental health harm. The real risk here is the scalability of future claims, not the individual verdict size. There's going to be thousands and thousands of these that come to market, or not come to market, but actually come to court unless there's some sort of appellate decision that kind of reverses the original court's decision and kind of puts a bit of a calming on that. We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be a multi-year overhang.
Yeah, tough precedent set with these. 32% off highs now, guys, for Meta.
Yeah, and you can imagine this is not exactly the day or the environment that you wanted to hear $10 billion in CapEx spend. So, I mean, the good news is it's already gotten flushed pretty bad, I suppose. So it's going to be very difficult for it to have a day as poorly as it did yesterday. That's not a very good headline. Meta's guilty till proven innocent. There's nothing worth, when it comes to levels, there's really nothing worth looking at that are coming in here today. Although, on the monthly chart, I drew this up by some point. I don't remember which day this week. It doesn't really matter. But on the monthly chart, because we're coming into the end of the month, like next week we'll be in a new fresh month. Meta has this going on a monthly chart, which is holding some higher lows. And we're basically right at that precipice. We're sitting at 539. So we're under the trend line on the monthly. If the month closed today, you'd be breaking this trend line. Although next month would be the confirmation. That happens. $440 is the moving average here. $440 is the next key level. And if you think it's crazy that Meta gets down to that price, then you don't remember when Meta was the cat's meow at 300, and then a year later was at $100. Like, it is possible. It can happen. And this is what I'm watching. If you can't bounce here on the monthly, then I'm expecting another leg down here in Meta. Day trade, it's not necessarily on the radar today, but you're at a critical point here to end the month.
Yeah, NVIDIA is about to break. We're going to talk about NVIDIA soon, but it's about to break 170 right there. Not a great level there. But yeah, Meta now down 10% in 2 days. I mean, down 8% yesterday, down 1.5% today. Yeah, if this all happened yesterday, this would be SSR, believe it or not. So there's the break there on Meta. And yeah, I would just say wait. We talked about where we would be, and maybe we could let's do this vote one more time and we'll get it, and then we'll cancel this in 5 minutes. Let us know what you're doing right now in the chat, right? I mean, you probably already voted. Vote again. What are we trying to do today? And this is what we just talked about on the day. I gotta get him to remove this chat mention detection thing there. All right, so today's poll is, are we waiting to be patient, like maybe not doing anything today at all? Are we looking for longs, or are we looking for shorts? And if you're looking for shorts, I think that right now, Meta, so put in the vote right here, and then we'll wrap this thing up very, very soon, because it looks like right there, cash and longs seem to be what's winning out right now at 75% of the vote right now. 3/4 of you would rather sort of either look to go long, which is nice positivity there, or be in cash. Not too many people looking for shorts. But yeah, for Meta, I think if you're looking for the short, this would be a good place to start. Your 200 periods up there at 544, that looks pretty good to me, actually. Yesterday's low that held is where we may get back up to and find some more resistance. So I'm thinking like, yeah, up there, and we can get there right off the open, right? A nice little relief rally. We've seen the market do that. 544 there for Meta. For me, I would prefer to short NVIDIA. I just think it's a little cleaner, but Meta has a great opportunity to get back in. Yesterday, here's VWAP. You didn't even see VWAP at all after the first half hour. It was see you later. And right now, if we get an opportunity to see it in that first half hour, it's probably a short. So, there's the 200 period, the 50 period is this pink, and it just followed it all the way, all afternoon, and finally broke it at about 3 o'clock. And then we started to trend a little bit higher there. So as long as we're still underneath, we do have the imbalances coming out at 925. That should influence the price a little bit there on Meta. But for me right now, yeah, 544 short into VWAP. No point in trying to go long here. It's underneath the market right now. And unless the market completely turns around, I think people will come for Meta's head one more time. So, yeah, let's go back over the desk and talk about a position or stock number 2 here, oil. We'll go figure out how we're going to trade that.
All right, President Trump spent most of the day yesterday, most of his cabinet meeting anyways, trying to talk down the market or talk down the tension in the overall market based on what's happening over in the Middle East unsuccessfully. I just had bring up crude here. There's crude on a daily chart. Back to, what is that, 97-ish right now for crude futures anyways. If you go over to Brent, however, it had more of a move. There's Brent back to 104.15, 104.20 right now. So 3 days in a row, straight back to the upside here. Market's not buying any of this talk back and forth.
Exactly, and it's moving up. Higher oil prices are, despite the fact that President Trump announced that 10-day extension, right, where he won't bomb the energy infrastructure. According to him, this was as a result of good negotiations with the Iranians, and despite the Iranians saying something to a different effect, according to President Trump, they are negotiating. But here's the deal. President Trump also indicated that 10 oil tankers passed through the Strait, suggesting partial normalization. Prior to that, he had quantified them at 8. Later, it was said it was 10. The move is being framed as a gesture from Iran to show their willingness to negotiate. Analysts warned, though, Brendo, that the oil market shifted from buffered to fragile, meaning less capacity to absorb shocks. And we always know that it's about 20% of the world's oil that goes through there, but we never really quantified it in terms of barrels per day.
Yeah.
Now we know it's about 17.8 million barrels per day that flow through the Strait, and since it's been closed, 500 million barrels haven't made their way out of there.
Huge disruption. And then even this morning, I mean, there's comments suggesting even this morning that Iran was coming out suggesting that anyone trying was, fair game. Any ships that tried to get through were fair game, to a point where there was multiple container ships, I was reading, that had turned around and gone back. So it doesn't sound like there's any sort of resolution for this yet, guys.
Yeah, and some of the larger fear too is if some of these oil-rich nations cannot get those tankers out, then storage capacities are only so big. What happens if they have to start ramping back production because they don't have the storage, if this prolongs? That's where you get those, whenever people talk, or you'll hear analysts and you'll hear governments do their worst case scenarios with the 175 and 200 oil, that's the scenario they're talking about if things drag on too far. But if we're looking at brass tacks today, well, USO just made a fresh high, so, I mean, are you surprised? The NASDAQ just hit fresh lows and USO is breaking out. And some have asked why not look at BNO. Like Brent, the ETF for Brent is not, it's just not liquid, to be honest with you. It's very illiquid here to trade, but you can look at BNO if you want to look at Brent as an ETF to be able to track. I'm looking at Oxy in particular. It's got 1 or 2 good pushes till we're right back up to some of I call it the Berkshire or the Buffett tops, where they were always buying it in the low to mid 50s, and then it would kind of top out here at 66 to 68. We're one good push away from that. And then with the momentum going, these guys have been rallying since earnings. It was a good earnings breakout and then dip into 50. Like, it was structurally good regardless of all of this. And you're seeing obviously you're seeing another bit of a gap up. What's interesting about it is yesterday, oddly clean structure yesterday, looking back at this. And again, if you were looking short things, like I was looking at SMCI short and Bitcoin short, you could have also been looking energy long, I suppose, and maybe you would have spotted this. Pull back into the prior high, double bottom. Maybe not the first, but the double bottom. When it does this little double bottom action and starts trending up, there's lots of places to have caught that trend. And if we get a gentle grind trade on oil, then I prefer Oxy for that kind of trend. But it is a wait for the first half an hour. If it sets up something similar, and you can find this trend, whether you find it at VWAP somewhere or whether you just sort of observe a trend line, either way, Oxy would be the vehicle that I tend to like if we get another slow grind on USO.
Yeah, Gworev, we did. I did mention that at the beginning of the year that this would be a very, very rough opportunity or rough year for the Mag 7. So I know we're talking about oil right there, but there it is, Gworev. Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, I didn't do anything about it. I just didn't buy anything. So that's at least good. As we still sit on that, we haven't really done any buying. We bought some SP 500. We talked about that. And we bought some Marvell before earnings, but we didn't actually layer into too many of these tech names. But we're talking about oil right now. So I was going to say just looking at USO, I mean, that's really the only thing that I trade in this space. We talked about XOM at all-time highs. That could be definitely something. We talked about FANG trying to break that 211. That's like another really good call over there. Let me look at FANG actually, because we did get a super chat from that. And we're close, you know. I don't know, like I said, I went back and, you know, XOM, like all these other levels aren't here from 2024, but Diamondback Energy looking like, I mean, again, if you're in this name and you're coming up to some of these highs, you may want to just trim a little bit because you probably will get a little bit of a, you know, pushback from this high, but nice move there for FANG, up 0.75%, and what an awesome mover this has been over the last month, right? Straight to the upside. If you go all the way back to the beginning of March, you know, you're down here at 164, you're up to 205 right now, so FANG, Diamondback Energy continues to work it out. And then, yeah, I think, you know, dip buying on XOM, I think can work today. Not too much volume hitting right now. We can check the scanners for XOM, but I mean, this has been a great monthly chart as well, needless to say, as there it goes. I mean, you want to talk about FANG, where they were back in March, but even this name, 147 up to 165, great little run over the last 2 weeks for XOM, like really almost no down days other than when we had some sort of shock on the news front, but continues to work higher. I don't think you have any reason to get out of any of these ETFs right now. It doesn't seem like things are getting in better. The NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are telling that story as well, as we're near lows right now to open up the day. XLE just continues to make its march. Man, glad we bought some, yeah, that's right. Glad we bought some of that off of this $50 break, which was right into here, and it's just been straight up. I mean, look at this last 2 weeks. You know, one red day, and I'm not even sure that is, and it's just been absolutely marching to the high side. So I would say stay strong and long anything in the oil space because this does not seem like it's ending anytime soon. So yeah, nothing wrong with trimming, and if you want to get into some cash, like this would be the space now to think about getting some cash to put it into if you want some of these tech names that have been so beat up. But I don't think we're in late innings yet. I think you can hold on to oil and maybe make that trade late next week out of oil and into something more beat up. But for right now, oil seems like the safe play, and might as well stay there. I mean, I know, you know, getting out of some XLE and into Google isn't. I've seen worse trades than that as well. You know, Tesla underneath 370, NVIDIA trying to bounce off that one. Well, we have NVIDIA coming up next. NVIDIA coming off that 170 right now. We'll see if it can wind up holding that. Let's go back over the desk. We'll talk about some chip space. Then we've got Netflix and Unity, and then this market will open up.
Carnival flying around here, guys. Numbers are out. The initial look looks pretty good. They also approved a $2.5 billion buyback. For CCL, initial move was downside, absolutely flush, but we're heading higher right now. Achieving record first quarter operating results and record bookings across the board. So it did get all the way down here to 24. Trying to test 25 right now, back higher on what appears to be a beat for CCL. Not a huge reaction though, to be honest. Let's go to some of these memory stocks once again. Trying to get back higher right now for Micron. Then we'll talk about Netflix. I mean, SanDisk kind of doing the same.
Yeah, this turbo quant's quite interesting. So I was reading a little bit about it yesterday because this had such a big move. So you get 8 times the speed, and apparently even though it's compressing it to no end, 0 loss. So all the actual information you went in with into the compression actually finds its way out, which is interesting. Apparently, not much of a tech guy, but apparently that's important in the tech space, Brendo. But there's 2 schools of thought here. One that says, look, this is going to hurt the memory names because they're not going to need to sell as much product, right? But there's another school of thought that says, no, we're going to sell more because we're going to be able to scale more. So for example, if you only could afford, let's just say 50 pieces of RAM, now all of a sudden they're a little bit cheaper because you don't need as much of them. You're going to build twice the capacity that you were building at before. So 2 different schools of thoughts, nobody in agreement at the moment.
2 days in a row, not good here for any of these. SNDK, another one. Bouncing, we're not back to 600 yet, but that ended up being the bottom yesterday for SanDisk.
Yeah, and for Micron actually just went green, by the way. Well, the market's still at the low. So there's some kind of a light, not at the end of maybe not at the end of the tunnel, but at least early on this morning. No, it's pretty bad because that 370 level. Here, well, I'll just go back on the daily. This is what I'm talking about here. Like this 370 support. Once you lost that, it signals a pretty clear trend break, and even a bounce today, like it gets into, if it comes right back into that 370 to 75 and just simply fails it, then all you might do is trap some people into the long side of the trade. I think that's the area to watch. If it's a flat bottom break there, then that to me is where the resistance is today on Micron. But it is interesting that it is a little bit relatively strong. Let's see, is SNDK going green as well? No. Yeah, the thing about SanDisk is it's really only losing the 50 period now. So maybe it's got a little bit more weakness. It's bouncing with the market here, a slight bounce, I should say, in the market. But I just think it's a little bit more clear, the levels on Micron, than they are over here on SNDK. It's that 370 to 75 area. That's where the resistance should end up being key on this Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we said that we'd talk a little bit about NVIDIA there. Yeah, I mean, look, I've called the downside in Micron for a long time and been wrong. Maybe we're finally there. I don't know if it's worth, testing that short. I think if the market's going to fall apart, Micron is sitting on a lot of gains. And people could, like I said, man, take your profits where they lie and then, think about it again later, because Micron can easily give back a decent percentage and already is doing that. So, yeah, look, there goes NVIDIA. I mean, this is the problem with NVIDIA right now, and it's teetering, right? I mean, it keeps on wanting to break lower. Unfortunately, this is now 2 days in a row where we bounced off that 200 period moving average and now come back in and looking to get shorter today. Down 0.76 in a market that's also down 0.7. The interesting thing to me right now is that if you look to see what the NASDAQ's doing, you're actually bumping up right now. Google. NVIDIA's bumping this second, but this has been like about a 10-minute move higher here, and NVIDIA said no thank you at all to that. So yeah, man, VWAP, anything like this, 171, 171.50. I do believe sitting on your hands for the first couple minutes might be worth it. Yesterday, if you look at what the TQs did yesterday, they actually rallied, and that's what was able to get me here. I can show you if I can find it on here. The sticky note is now out. We got some ideas on there. I have NVIDIA 173 short, but again, we write that down at 730. It's going to be a little different action. Oh yeah, by the way, the war here, I just put this out on my account. This is the US dollar. War pushes Iranian US dollar towards the year's biggest monthly gain. Now, it's only on the year, so we're only in March, but there it goes, man. The US dollar obviously running on, the cost of this war is going to be a lot, I would assume. Oh, that's it. Okay, so here it is right here. So this is what we did yesterday. Okay, this is what we did yesterday. The market opened up, and we actually went short pretty early off of VWAP. Then we shorted it into the high. We actually get stopped out there. Then we just waited for it to base, and it didn't actually base to the top side until about 10 o'clock, and then we just tanked all day. So, I mean, it turned out to be, quite the short trade there yesterday on the TQs, but it didn't actually start until 10 o'clock. So, looking to see if that kind of action happens again here. You're getting a little bit of a rally now in the market. So for me, it's wait and fade this week name. NVIDIA is not going up with this market right here. If we do get back up, I wrote down 173, but let's look at 171, 171.50, where your 200 period moving average is. So yeah, NVIDIA today pretty weak, and I'm assuming AMD was near that $200 mark. Nice bounce off of that as well. So, you see the difference here. AMD only almost green, actually, especially if the NASDAQ goes. This will probably go green, and NVIDIA not. So even on the daily, man, like NVIDIA's broken below most of these levels. AMD is actually holding above its 200 period moving average. So a tale of two different names right here. People are looking to support AMD right now a little bit more than NVIDIA. So very, very interesting thing there. All right, 7 minutes left. We'll get 2 more minutes until the NASDAQ imbalances. And right now we'll go check out what's going on with Netflix. Hopefully it's dropping into that 93 area.
Worth noting Carnival as well, if anyone cares or is watching. Carnival right back down to 24.50. They lowered their full year 2026 guidance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was 248 to 221 down to 236. So that has this thing now red. So CCL still flying around here a little bit as well. Yeah, let's talk about Netflix. Big move yesterday, big move here this morning so far. Coming back in a little bit right now, but get ready to pay more for your Netflix again.
Across all tiered subscription plans, Brendo, with increases of a minimum $1. So here are the deal. The ad-supported tier jumping from $7.99 to $8.99. The standard plan, that goes to $19.99 from $17.99. And the biggest move is on the premium. Well, same thing actually as the standard, from $24.99 to $26.99. Extra member pricing also is increased. So if you want to share it, you're also going to have to pay more for that. Management does continue to justify the price hikes, though, as necessary to fund the massive content investment and platform expansion. We were talking about them getting into sports. Sports are super expensive, as we know. They're also leaning into live events and video podcasts. They expect to spend $20 billion on content this year. That's up by $2 billion from what they spent in 25. They spent 18 in 25. Higher content spend, though, according to the company, is a key lever to support subscriber growth and justify pricing power. They also expect, Brendo, ad revenue to double this year. We know that they've really been kind of pushing that ad tier plan because the more you watch, the more they get paid. They expect their revenue to double in 2026, which shows, you know, a bit of a hybrid model now. They're looking for subs and ad dollars.
I was just checking. We're right around the corner from earnings season, by the way, once again, in a couple weeks. They report April 16th, so not even that far down the road here for Netflix earnings. $12.05 billion was the revenue last year. And then you add this on top of that, so should be a nice little uptick, guys. But 2 days in a row looks good here for Netflix.
A double bounce. They're going to add revenue by increasing prices, and they got almost $3 billion for free for the break of the WBD deal. Now, look, whether or not it gets down in, like this morning, I was basically, like we had that turnaround yesterday when everyone knew it was the pricing story in yesterday's move that caused it. And you see where the volume came in, and it was holding support at 92.8. And then when the news volume hit, it was at 93.3. So that's the target area for a dip. That said, look at the way this was oscillating all day. Like huge reversals and long trend, big reversals and big spikes up. So I think this is lending itself to like a very good mean reversion type of stock. So any downtrend, any clear downtrend break, I'm going to take a shot at, even if it doesn't get into the support levels here on Netflix. And you know, where do you think it might get to? Whoops. That $100 level, if you see, like first resistance is gonna be at 96 and change, but if you see $100, that's an auto ring the register. That's a big double top. Well, it would end up being a big double top if it were to get there. Just respect the fact that when the Warner Brothers deal went the way of Paramount Skydance, that was the reversal, and the top was very distinctly at $100. So I think that's what you're shooting for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I think if, you know, it's easy to sort of pick a bottom here. I've already picked it out and I wrote down 93, but again, like, you know, we're writing that down when we're getting in here today. And we're going live at 8 o'clock. This thing was at $93. So it is on my note today to go long Netflix at 93. And we talked about the reason why is that we want to support this situation. I mean, I think a rise in the price, I don't think anybody's going to cancel. And if they are, fine. I mean, I think they'll make it up with, you know, a $2 raise on a $20 product. I mean, if 1 out of every 10 people cancels, it's net 0. So I think that would be fine by them. And yeah, we talked about more live content coming through. I think that's going to be key for them. Live is getting more and more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive these days. So, you know, adding a couple bucks to your Netflix payment isn't going to hurt the majority of people out there. And I think that the market is realizing that. Plus, they can now put that $87 billion to work somewhere else, what they're not doing now with Warner Brothers. And they can sort of let that settle. But yeah, there it goes, man. Nothing but upside. Here. We're going to have to wait. If the market does fall in, then maybe we can catch some Netflix at some point. But there's that, NVIDIA coming with a buy. So there it goes, shooting up a little bit now for Netflix. So maybe, you know, maybe those of you that did vote earlier on this poll, maybe you guys are right right there. And, you know, that
just flipped.
Did it just flip? Yeah, but I mean, it's trying to go up. We'll see if it's right. Sit on cash, vote right now. What are we doing today in the trade? And then we'll lock this up in 2 minutes. It'll be over with. Sit on your hands and be patient. Wait for either a flush or a rip to make a move. Wait for longs or wait for shorts. For me, I'm going to be more early looking for shorts to see if we can fade something. And then if the market does kick up, then we can easily switch it up and get into the longs. We'd have a negative P&L by that time, though. Google right there with a buy as well. That's trying to go, wow, 276 for Google, pretty low now. But yeah, AAL, we've been talking about some of the travel names early today. too, and that's going to the downside. So, all right, we'll get back over to the desk. One more Unity. Oops, I just closed my chart.
Been a buy.
One more Unity.
Just shot 4%.
Oh, there it is right there. A bid on Unity at the top of our imbalance board. There's NVIDIA again. All right, back over the desk and we'll get ready to go.
Yeah, I just took out the highs and then some for you this morning. Don't zoom out, however, because you'll get a very different look at what this stock has done of late. I guess 21, really, 2150 is the high on a daily chart, but I mean, we're right back into resistance again.
But this was a really good guide, especially, Brando, 505 to 508 million for Q1 revenue, well above the 480 to 490. Also adjusted EBITDA far ahead of what the market expected, 130 to 135 million. The street was looking for 105 to 110, and management really saying this was driven by Unity Vector. Vector is kind of a key lever here, apparently improving ad targeting and performance, and they're kind of sunsetting the old ad network that they had called Iron Source Ads Network. That ends April 30th, and all focus will be on Vector.
We'll see how things shape up today, guys. Might need some help, but yeah, like 20, I guess 2150, 22, and then we're into that gap on a daily chart here for Unity.
Definitely having a good one today, even though it got a downgrade. I hate to be the person that downgraded. I'm watching some SMCI because I want some continuation, but got to be patient because the market's trying to blast as we open it right about now. So that's one thing we didn't get to. There was more bad news with SMCI, which we'll get to at some point. But I'm looking at this obvious resistance at 2270 for a bit of a pop and fade. Initial move, nowhere. On oil, pretty much nothing on the NASDAQ. If you're looking over at that Unity, it already, oh boy, that's not good. Unity has already lost a bid. So there is the break of the aftermarket high, and it's back underneath 20. That just dropped 6 or 7% in an absolute heartbeat. So watch out. That's a failed breakout right there on Unity. Start the open.
Yeah, maybe the market wants to go a little bit. Just waiting here. I'm going to wait for NVIDIA. I'm waiting at 171. Maybe we get that. We talked about those levels. We'll try it. If it breaks like 171.50, we can clear out if we wind up getting NVIDIA. And again, I don't want to, like, we're 1 minute in here. So, you know, we won't change our opinion, but we will still look for some shorts. Just got to get it up there into 171 to see if that winds up hitting. SLV, we didn't talk too much about it, but I was looking for a short there. It's on the note today. I'm looking for a short at $62. We almost got up into there. So I am sitting there at $62. I'm actually going to change it, 61.80. We'll see. I'll put an offer there on silver and see if we can wait to get that one. Apple made a move maybe right off the open, or was that just, yeah, it's a little bit of a bump there off the open, now fading back in. Oh man, it's too bad. Like, we didn't want to get short the NASDAQ right away, but I am trying to look at 41. Now the 200 period's down to 40.75, and we're starting to fade out just a little bit right now, and I guess that NVIDIA, maybe we should have took that pop. Oh no, it's still here, okay. Still looking for 171 on NVIDIA, not doing anything. A strong name in the space, we noticed yesterday, Marvell took out $100. It's up today, so in a market that's down 0.7, Marvell up 0.6, right there, that's a 1.5 point difference right now between the market and my good friend Marvell. So
AMD's not strong today.
AMD's not strong, yeah, so NVIDIA and AMD both today trying to hold bids, but doesn't look like it.
AMD just bounced almost exactly off that 200 level. That could, if it loses 200, it could be in a world of hurt. USO, if you're watching USO or BNO or Brent, there's really nothing happening. Energy, it's pulled off some of the highs, but nothing too crazy. Bitcoin is still weak. It just hit the low. It might be doing that thing, like yesterday, it was a very like chop, and then it fell apart. Like it wasn't even holding under VWAP until almost like 11 o'clock when it was very clear that it was an obvious short. So maybe let it pop up, maybe like VWAP first and then try a little something later. Netflix, well, you can stick a fork in 93.
That's not coming.
Dollar says we're not getting 93 today. I don't know, whatever. It's kind of pointless to make that bet right now because I just looked over and saw that it just popped into 95.5. So yeah, gonna have to look for another entry area, I suppose, here on Netflix. That looks incredibly strong. But if the market's coming down, maybe SMCI, no, that's not even pressing up anymore. So this was pressing into a resistance level, SMCI, and that's not gonna get there. It's already back at some of these lows. Thought we'd have enough juice to get like an early bounce that there'd be some fades into. At least that's what it looked like going into the open.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing too much here. We do have Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock coming right now. So NVIDIA's not doing anything, but what is doing something is Tesla, and it's going lower. So there goes Tesla right now, down 1.6% and getting uglier as we speak right now. So I'm almost off a cliff. I think that's about right. Now making those moves down. ARTL was your small cap runner. Artelo now halted. Finally to the upside, up 168%. Yeah, it looks like it's halted at 850 right now, 885. Looks like the opening print will come in and around 885, but just halted now. ARTL at 932 and 24 seconds. So that's a name to look at there today if you are interested in playing small cap names that are halting around a bit. All right, man, the NASDAQ's taking out the lows, and as we thought, it didn't get into. I was sitting here, man, at 40.75. We talked about the 200 period moving average. Does not get it. Stupid me. Could have maybe shorted the 50 period break right there to the downside. But there we go. Now breaking the day's low on the TQQs. You know, we're always waiting for something to bump higher, but maybe it's just play the short right now. The NASDAQ's only down 1%. I mean, we could get a lot lower now, and then maybe get out if we do take that 50 period moving average. NVIDIA has also broken down, so let's try it. I'll try some. I just punched some 07s there. Might have been stupid. I wish we would have got 08s. But there it is. And now we're going to be short here, just a unit and a half for now. You know, I'm going to try to play this maybe up to 40.50, kind of where these highs have been. You know, VWAP's going to be there by the time it comes up, so we can almost reload it if it does get to that area. 40.37s also right there, 40.30 maybe for a reload as well, or just to add to the position, not a reload. That would be a good trade. But here we go, man. I mean, you got to have some sort of conviction, and just thinking the futures were going to go down. We take that trade. Not the ideal spot, but at least we have something on now if and when this market comes back in, and here it's coming already. So, you know, we'll take off 10% if we can get a 96 fill for that dime, and then we'll wait to see a little bit lower. But so far, so good. That's one stock in, and Tesla is continuing, man. I mean, maybe.
On Tesla.
Oh, do we? Okay. I was gonna say maybe this is the spot that we should have just shorted instead of the futures, because Tesla helping this whole market get to the downside.
Yeah, it's definitely helping. And Lunch 911 says, caught the Tesla down. Thank you, everyone. Well, it's definitely taking everything down. Well, it's not leading the market down, but it's certainly one of the worst ones out there. Still trying to grab some SMCI. Man, that's looking pretty weak. My backup plan was Intel, and the backup plan, this is at VWAP. So the backup plan was always, it's usually, if I can find something structurally that I really like for a short, this is at the volume weighted average price, and SMCI is not. So I end up likely taking this. I am also trying to pick up iBit. Sell iBit. Pick up would mean go long. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea there. I'm also trying to get into iBit, which is Bitcoin, but I just canceled VWAP. Because before we were looking at the volume weighted average price for that high, I say forget that and maybe look at these lower highs in here. Just the first available pop if we can get it. SMCI is gonzo now. Bye-bye, 21.6, that's already at the lows. SMCI is down 3% already, Adara.
I think this is worth noting, though it's certainly not news per se. I'm seeing lots of talk this morning about how the NASDAQ has apparently now officially fallen 10% from its highs. That means if we close at this area or lower, the NASDAQ will officially be in correction territory. Back to you.
Well, get ready.
We talked about yesterday.
I thought it was 10% yesterday, but apparently it's now today. So that's okay. From the official. Yeah, it's fine from the official lows there. Maybe it was the first time it's opened up 10% lower. But we took a little bit. We did get a 96 fill there. We can get, I mean, I am willing to get out of this. Remember, if we do break the highs here at 40.60, I'm just going to put my stop in right now. And we could get a report about anything at any time. So we're trying to be very, very careful with exactly what we're doing right now. So I am going to get a little bit more short if we can get into 40.25, which is our 50-period moving average. So it's coming up to that right now, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully we can get that. Did you hear something?
Well, no, it was just it was two Chinese.
Oh,
yeah, it was basically two Chinese.
What's going on with the Chinese
ships that got turned away this morning. So they remember saying like some might be getting through. Well, a couple that are flying the quote-unquote right flag, whatever, did not. You would think that would send us lower, but we're actually going higher as we speak.
Yeah, that's strange. I mean, I just got more short there.
Yeah, because I interpret
maybe
that
this
as
comes
not
out soon.
A good thing. But the market's definitely taking us higher here. Like we're right back under some of those lows. Like we're gonna take out that Well, VWAP, I don't care about VWAP until it's like 15 minutes in, but the volume weighted average price where most of the pre-market volume is going to be the outs. So I'll slap the fail on that early short. That actually headline, it sounded like it would be negative, and it's taking us higher. All right, that actually might give an opportunity for SMCI. The thing I liked a little bit better, that's still languishing a bit here. So I'm going to go back to what I thought was number one, is that's coming into VWAP. Let's throw up VNU Super Chat here.
Okay.
Any thoughts on Crowd? Look, I haven't read this article. There was an article out about Claude, the new Claude, and that's taking all of the.
I'm assuming it's coming back. I haven't looked.
It's CrowdStrike. Well, with the market coming, I would make an assumption that it is too, but yeah, it's still down 6%.
Oh, is it?
It
Okay.
is coming back a little bit. No, again, I haven't read the article, but it was a Claude article, a new version of Claude, which the last time it basically took a huge dent in all the cybersecurity names, and CrowdStrike got the brunt of it again here, down 6%. Palo Alto down as well, but I think CrowdStrike, I believe, was leading the way relative to the two there.
I was going to say, I wonder if CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz is going to come out and say, hey, I experimented and it's okay. We can't make my company with Claude, which is, guys, if you don't know, a real thing that he said last time. I'm not, I'm joking, but also he actually said this.
I really hope that he doesn't make that mistake again. Because it came off as, it came off as desperate. Like you're just.
Yeah. For sure, not a great look there, but I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's part of his tongue in cheek, right? I mean, I don't think. Yeah,
The post did not come off as tongue in cheek. I'll say that.
Okay, well, the thing about it is the stock obviously rebounded huge from 340. Like this is when the whole panic situation had happened right there, whoosh to the downside there, and then not only did it, it took out. That 420 level, got all the way up to 450 again, and now it's just been on it's like not good from there, man. You're almost down like 15% or so from those levels there in just a couple weeks. So despite that story coming out today, it does seem like, there's going to be some.
Netflix is on 93.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so Netflix, Neil would have lost $1 there. Maybe I should have taken it. But I wanted to come back into 93 anyways. I'm sitting there for a bid. If Netflix does come in, I think we can try that for sure down there. It's funny because the market's actually rebounding quite nice. And I'm in the short.
Down.
Remember, I'm out of that short at 40.60 if you're in with me. Maybe we do break, but we're at the 50 period right now, and you can see Netflix is nowhere near the 50 period. If anything, it is making that move down. I think traders today selling the winners there, right? They found Netflix. It was a winner. They're selling it. I think Marvell probably could be going to the downside as well. Nah, not really.
I think Netflix is in that group of it's like the safe haven from AI kind of thing. So when tech gets its wings under it, maybe Netflix isn't as good. And when we're selling everything that's like software and tech, then Netflix is.
Where's NVDA?
That's the only thing I can come up with because we saw it yesterday. Like it was strong when everything else is weak, so it could be a little bit of that. I wonder what Apple would be doing then in that environment. Well, then Apple's just going with the market. But Apple's at the high when the market's only just now bouncing off some of them. So Apple's up 0.5%. Like you don't have to look too far to be able to figure out where the actual winners are overall. In tech, I should say. I shouldn't say in the market. There's lots of winners everywhere. But if you're looking in tech, Apple has been holding up so much better. Look at the daily chart. It's the only daily chart that doesn't stink in most of the Mag 7. Well, not most of the Mag 7. It's the only one that doesn't stink in all of the Mag 7. Apple.
Yeah, probably about right there.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, you have Microsoft's bad, Meta's bad.
Terrible.
Google's bad. I mean, Google.
We haven't even looked at Amazon.
By the way, right now, the futures, we haven't looked. Amazon has this sort of story this morning. Okay, so the TQs and the NASDAQ right here, makes a high. We just got into flat for our trade, so having to wait for it, right? I mean, getting short early, we were able to take a little bit out. We have reloaded it at these areas underneath VWAP. We're going to try to use VWAP and this high as sort of our no moss spot. So if we do break above VWAP and we do break above this 200 period moving average, then we're going to stop out. But I am still going to try to get a little bit more. And I'm right now sitting at 48. So maybe I should go a little bit lower into 40 right now for the TQs just to make sure we do get some. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to hurt too bad the price that we get here. So we'll get a little bit more aggressive with where we're going to sit with our order. We'll go to 44 and see if we do get a little bit of a bump up. But there it is, now back to positive land here on this trade. If we're going to go 1-to-1, remember our stop was going to be like a break of 60 or so, so we're looking for about 40 cents. So if we could take something out around O's where we've bounced off of, that would be our first stage. And then more significant if we can get 90s or 85, something like that on the TQs. But that's a minute away now.
By the way, Artelo is now
that's what I was just going to look. It halted upside? No, go ahead.
200% to the upside. Artelo Biosciences, sheesh, Neil. 210% halted at 991. It's got a tap of 10, which you can run that in the 100 meters, and congratulations to you. We talked about this a lot earlier, and at the end of the day, sometimes these small cappers, the best price you can get is in the pre-market, and that obviously is going to be the case, at least for now. But always take your profit when you get a chance to. These kinds of names do not usually hang around for a long time. We know how that story goes, but it looks like a fantastic one. Assume 5-minute halt until proven otherwise. We did have a couple that were like all day 10-minute halts on one of the ones yesterday, but typically it'll be open in about 5 minutes. So SMCI is trying to get back into the low of the day here. Going to try to reload this one at VWAP and then play that trend down. What is not trend down yet? Well, it's just not. I shouldn't say yet, because who knows? Well, it is trend down. But what is bouncing right now is iBit coming back into the volume-weighted average price. Now, I didn't short this one at VWAP because that would have been pre-market. But as it comes into the volume-weighted average price here, going to look for a bit of a curl on iBit. It's not there just yet. And worth tracking, like USO's not doing anything. Like it's got that slight, okay, made the low at the open, and now it's headed higher, which that could easily have us in that slow grind mess that we had yesterday, where it was slow grind and consolidation. And when it finally broke, it was a slow grind up as well. Nothing crazy without any headlines here in USO, which can be a good thing. If it just shows us one trend all day long, you go in the other direction in most of the market, I should say.
I'm almost hit here. This is another trade that we have on SLV. I'm just actually going to take this fill at 80s right into here. I kind of, we started the day downside on silver a little bit. It was always up today, but into this area, I was just sort of thinking a 62 short, maybe something to look at for SLV. So we'll try it on this most recent bump up. You can see it's been an area. I mean, it's not even 62. It's more like the 6180 or so type space right there, 62 and change. If we do break above that, then we can and will get out of this silver trade. We'll average it a little bit more. I have another offer at 61.90, and then a break of 62, and we'll get out. So some of the shorts right now just not really printing out. We only have one fill on the Qs and on the TQQs, and it's just not doing much there. Okay, so Fridays. Hey, what's up, HY Trader? Fridays close war. So TQs. Down 7% this weekend, you think? So if it's the TQs, is that what you mean by that? So that means the NASDAQ would be down around like 2.5% or so. Talks progressing. Trump pauses Iran strike to April. Are you saying plus 6%? No. Okay, it's 6 month TQQs. Yeah, for sure. Fuse futures bouncing Tuesday. Everything's fine. 4 weeks of this yo-yo exhausting. So I probably have to reread that to get the whole gist of it.
It feels like it's more of like a recap from last Friday's close.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's. Look, the yo-yo action is absolutely insane. I get it.
It's like, it drives you nuts, right?
It does, because it's headline to headline. Like, I remember like the financial crisis too. It was the same thing. Like you'd come in the morning and it's like, okay, well, what ridiculous bad news are we going to hear today, and who's getting bailed out? But the difference is that was all generally in one direction. Here, like you're getting it back and forth, which can be a little bit frustrating. I think all you can do is almost trying to group things into what still makes sense based on like the original thesis that you might have had for your trading and what doesn't. So like immediately was able to observe, okay, well, Intel didn't when it broke higher, and SMCI, like it's got a false break of a high, it's got a lower high, so it still looked relatively weak. And on the other end of it, hey, they've got their own bad news, so maybe they can just do what they did yesterday or had been doing most days since, which is be nasty. So again, I know it can be tricky, but also just keep your ground to oil. There's nothing wrong with if you only wait for something big to happen. Like your overall idea is, I'm just gonna wait until maybe there's a big news story, and maybe you catch like a trend break in like USO. Who knows? Like you might be able to catch like one of these trade bottoms. Like you could do nothing on energy, and then if you got this trend break here at 1040 on USO, that just trended higher all day long. That requires a lot of patience to do. iBit was like that yesterday. Like the short really came in at 11 o'clock. It was one of the things, I was trying it all morning long, and it really wasn't any good until 11 o'clock. and then it was an all-day short. So just extra patience required,
Yeah.
I think, in this market. And there's nothing you can do
Here's
about it.
here's a note that we got too. Is
VSA.
like, I missed whatever that one was. Yeah, it's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong, right? I mean,
I love that.
exactly. So I mean, it's like, and I wrote that in the chat. It's like perfect. That's exactly right. Okay, so on that note, there we go, man. We take a 20-cent hit on silver. You know, we tried that top take there. You know, I don't think. I mean, first of all, the chat wins again because right there in that poll that we had up. Earlier, right? I mean, you guys are pretty undefeated right there, right? We said for longs, push it. That was the winning. I'll end it now. We'll get another vote going soon, but there it was, man. Winner, look for longs right there. So you guys nailed that one with 95 votes, and it was actually more than that when we first started. So, you know, the market is definitely pushing highs right now into this initial 10-minute or 20-minute now opening run. So there it goes. We get stopped out at silver. Maybe that's the top, but I don't know. Like you had said there, Carl, don't stick in a trade for too long if it's wrong. And we break through 62. That's the level that we wrote down. So we got out at 62.05 on that break a little higher. Like I get short in front of levels and I get out, you know, just a little after the levels hit, right? And so that's the way I'm trading all of that. So silver now out. So we go 0 for 1 on that one. And we are waiting to see what happens here with the TQs, right? I mean, we just touched out near VWAP. We got a little more short there. Our average price is 26. Our stop is 60 break, which is the 200 period moving average. Here it comes back in just a little bit. And of course, look what happens to silver. You know, right back down in. Say, could have saved me 15 cents right there. But for now, we're
biggest volume candle on USO is happening since the open.
Okay.
It's not huge though, but it's just enough of a. You know what?
Oh, damn
Check
you,
that.
silver.
My bad, because I'm looking at my black chart. Must have a dark pool that's causing it. I'll have to do some filters on my black chart because there wasn't a volume spike, but we are back up at the highs.
Okay.
So we are back up at the highs, but it wasn't on a current volume. So you're getting USO back in through the top. That's always going to mean. That's usually going to mean we're heading back in. So all I did is reload SMCI VWAP. So VWAP's holding. Now you just need to make some fresh lows because for now, this is still
what a shame.
A wick bottom and trying to break higher. So you need this to get underneath 21.6, like past that 1% mark and start holding out down here and then tankage or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the USO continues to go, so that's going higher and higher and higher.
Higher and higher.
Which does mean the market's going to come in. Intel still looking strong. That's why we got away from it. This doesn't look like a short again just yet. iBit's at the lows. Shoot, that didn't get into, that didn't quite get high enough there on iBit. But Bitcoin back into the low of the day. I think we're at 66. Oh boy. 60, 66, and ETH back under 2,000.
All right, bang, let's go, man. Spin the money. We're having a great day, but it's like, we just took out the very top on silver there. And now look where it is, right back into VWAP. So we actually have the high tick there on SLV, but like we keep saying, man, traders got to trade. And yeah, we just had to punch out there. We actually put that up, right? It's okay to be wrong, just don't stay wrong. I don't think we were wrong, but it was hard when it pushes the envelope there and we get stopped out. But it's all good, man. We're almost at our daily goal right here with this. Despite losing there on SLV, here we go, man. Hit me at O's. I'm at O's right now. There it is, man. We get hit at O's. And now the move is happening for us for real. Nice move down right now on the TQs. Oh, man, that silver's going to haunt me for a minute. What's up, Adara?
Just one headline here coming through. Not sure if this is why we're dropping, but I think worth mentioning regardless. Iran saying that their steel plants in Isfahan have been targeted by U.S. and Israeli strikes. So, again, some steel plants being struck here in the Middle East, it sounds like. We have just 8 minutes now until the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment print. I'll see you then, unless there's more news.
Well, they said no oil infrastructure. I guess that didn't mean not steel, and that's going to send USO back into the highs, but again, we're headline to headline, and it always seems like that's what happens here. The market does not want to head back in. If we bounce off the lows, I'm going to drop out of SMCI, but watch out Micron. Micron, one of the strongest names out there, those memory chips, that just got a heavy turnaround. So what was strong is now all of a sudden looking weak. Apple was looking good. Still, okay. Topping tail candle here for Apple, still up 0.7%, but it does look like it is making the harsh reversal now. Yeah, it's not looking overly constructive, everybody. And Meta, I know not many people are going to be trading Meta, but worth mentioning, when we were bouncing, Meta was never actually bouncing. So you saw Apple just bouncing, you saw Micron just bouncing. Meta was absolutely never, ever bouncing. That stock is so broken.
Strategy is not broken, that is for sure, man. Yeah, we're putting up some numbers today again. There goes the TQs, man, all the way to the downside. All we did was just support what we thought would work, and it has. So far, so good. You know, are we going to get, you know, worse? Not sure. We do have University of Michigan, so be careful with anything University of Michigan related there. Yeah, just over 5 minutes right now, and those numbers will come out. But again, like up to VWAP. It's funny, like I am happy, don't get me wrong. It's just like I hate being, you know, we only had 2 trades today, and it's just like getting stopped out there on silver. We'll be back into it. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's worry about this stock right now, the name that we do have. Look, we had talked about it today that, you know, we were looking for bids, offers on certain things. Obviously, the NASDAQ to the downside. We actually made some, you know, talk about the NASDAQ earlier and thought that, you know, with NVIDIA losing a bid today, you know, down to 169. It's funny because I was at 171 here. I mean, it's a good thing we didn't take that and get stopped out, but that's going to the downside. So that's, you know, not making me happy, but definitely helping out with the NASDAQ. Yesterday we had Google get some bad news from Apple, potentially, or not potentially, but, you know, looking at other alternatives other than with ChatGPT and Gemini and all of that. So Google down 1.26% today as well. Its good friend Apple, we can have a quick little look there. 254, that's actually upside. Crypto's getting, oh boy, oh my God right now. Yeah, there we go, man. We are now pumping it out, man. The Qs are really falling down. You know what, Silver, you can go to hell in a handbag, man, real quick right there. Look at Silver. And by the way, we do have Netflix now. This may be no good, but there's the fill up there at 93 change. So that's coming in. Oh man, we have a monster right now, guys, in the TQs. We got a lot of shares on board right there, and this is absolutely falling in. So yeah, silver, well, we missed that trade, but like we said, man, we got to be here. We got to trade, and that was too bad. It hit our level. We got stopped out. We got to be disciplined with that, but that's okay. We'll put this back in our pocket right now and hopefully get going with the TQs. Another low fill right there, 70 cents in the money. We got to watch out for this Netflix though, because we're short. I'm actually going to punch out a little bit of Netflix here for flattish, and then just take a little bit of profit on this name. Not sure we like this hold anymore on NFLX. And I'm trading with bigger shares, so I don't necessarily want to be sitting here and getting smoked. Like, we can win on the TQs and lose on Netflix. Don't really want to do that. So we'll wait to see if it breaks through 93. It looks like that's coming in right now.
Yeah, Netflix, my only plan is to revert long. There's no, I'm not catching falling knives. It did multiple trend reversions yesterday. Did it off the open, but it was pretty clear when it would do one, and then you could have it a little bit late, or in here it did a bit of a trend break. So I want to see that happen pretty cleanly. As we press through the lows, the only question is SMCI want to break through that low of the day. The refill at VWAP has been pretty clean, so if it bounces, I know where we want to jump back in. Bitcoin just continues to get smoked. ETH continues to get smoked. Tesla is now down at 360. Sorry about the wick. That's down 2.5%. We just continue to go lower and lower. I believe there's a couple of halts. It's an EIQ from yesterday is halted. ARTL also. Artelo halted again, now up 270% at 1172, 1250 tap. Artelo is now, it's almost a double up from when we first brought this one to you. Getting pretty close. So if there's strength in small cappers, that's for sure.
What kind of a day are we even having? Okay, there goes Netflix right now. Boom. All the way up into 30s right there. So here we go. We'll take a fill up here if we can get it. Nice move there for Netflix, but we did get out of some of our position. Yes, sir. As you guys know, there it is, man. We're on one today. What a good day to trade. One more time. You never know where your bread's going to be buttered. We talked about that. There's Netflix. But the thing is, man, Netflix, we talked about where we wanted that price, right? It's on, this is it right here. The #1 trade, we didn't get iBit yet. Netflix, 93 long. There it is, man, it's 50 cents. Neil, you can have this one trade and you done right now. So that's a money trade there. I'm mad about silver, but what can we do? We're at 2 times our daily goal now and it's 10 o'clock. So boom. And we would almost be at 4 times if we still had this silver, but we do not. So there, that goes to the downside. Let's just keep on watching out for the market, right? Market now down 1.3%, looking to get a little uglier here today as we continue that move down. I hope everyone's having a great time. Thank you to everybody watching right now. Okay, there we go. Getting out on TikTok, ARTL, if you guys are
Still
somewhat trading this. It's going to halt to the downside right now, $10.80. Halt down, just happening right there. But 99 problems. Today, halts aren't one because right now we are cruising on this Netflix, and I'm just going to punch a little bit more out here as we get some 95 or some 35s, still waiting at 40s. So far, so good here today. Let this market bleed down. We are short and doing quite well there today. And it's just what a week it's been, man. I mean, every day this week, it seems like we've been hitting these monster bangers. And, you just got to, kind of understand the market that we're in, right? I mean, we know that volatility is definitely increased. And I know when we had Obi on the show and stuff, it's like you look for these holds, man. The minute the VIX starts spiking and you get into these 20s or almost, was it 29 or something today? You definitely get some opportunities to capture bigger moves. So there it is, man, on the TQs. So far, so good there. What a good week. Thumbs up, man. Looks like your SMCI too, $22. Hopefully that's going to be a good level. But the market right now, nonstop, ever since we went short, like we just have been bleeding off that VWAP. So yeah, so far so good down there in and around those levels. We just got 93.40s.
We have Michigan sentiment coming out right now.
Yeah, so we have it in 20 seconds. So let's go over to Adara right now. And congratulations everybody this morning.
15 seconds away from the final University of Michigan consumer sentiment print for the month of March. Forecast 54, prior 55.5. So we are expecting a drop. 5-year and 1-year inflation expectations we're expecting actually higher than the prior print. Let's see what we get when these numbers go live. Just waiting for this to populate. Okay, give me a second here. We've got University of Michigan 1-year inflation 3.6%. So that's higher than the forecast. Sorry, 3.8% above the forecast of 3.6% and the prior print of 3.4%. Going to wait for the rest of these. I apologize here, guys. 3.2% here for the 5-year. So 3.2% in line with estimates for the 5-year inflation expectation. 1 year is going to be above estimates and the sentiment below estimates. So basically people expecting higher near-term inflation and they're a little bit less enthusiastic right now about the economy. Here is the NASDAQ dropping lower though right now, maybe a little bit of a bottoming tail look here for the Qs. Let's talk NFLX. We know Sean's been involved in this name. This one actually was a rare positive name yesterday. Basically what happened was first it's reported, then they later announced they are going to be raising some of their prices. Oppenheimer raising its price target for Netflix in turn. This tech weakness, though, other than names like Netflix, does continue. Meta, of course, on watch after not 1, but 2 liability trial results here not in their favor. In social media, we also had CrowdStrike and some of these other names in the cybersecurity space to the downside amidst more fears that Claude and other AI platforms could potentially overtake them. So lots on watch here in the tech space, but do make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content we have for you every single day. Let's see what Sean and Neil are trading.
Or throw a comment on TikTok as well for all of our viewers that are following us in there. I've seen a few nice comments and we appreciate everybody. But you know what? This next hour, I should say, brought to you by our good friends over at Trade the Pool. Why? Because the markets have been pretty active lately. You might have noticed. And those for traders, that's going to create volatility and opportunity. More setups, more momentum. But to take advantage of those conditions, you need 2 things. You need discipline and you need access to capital. Pretty important. And that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your personal account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up that personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what we call limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code you see on screen right now and get 10% off. Shout out to Trade the Pool. Thank you for Mitch coming on. Thank you to we get Steve coming on as well. So fantastic guest. We are actually getting a little bit of okay, watch what's going on in USO here. Bit of a dip back down. It might break trend. So this bar actually looks like it wants to break the trend line here. If it does close, that's a good place to scalp out of the short, at least for now, because that's one of the things that happened. Like it was all trend down off of the open and then eventually broke it at about 10:30. But if this breaks this upward trend that we're seeing in oil, it's usually been a bit of a reversal signal. Can always jump back into some trades. Come on, catch that bid, close back above. That's what you want to see. If you're looking at individual oil names, Oxy still pretty strong. It's holding above VWAP, but I said you got to wait till something distinct is happening in USO. I don't think you're at that point yet. And then the small cap or battle, this looks like junk. This is not going up with oil. So if oil goes down, this might actually be some low-hanging fruit to the downside. It's not even bouncing anymore. That's how weak it is, unfortunately. So got to track that USO, which is catching a little bit of a bid here. So I think it's going to hold this trend line, which can set us up for some reload opportunities, at least I think. And maybe give me a chance to get into this intel. Again, it's underneath VWAP. The first shot didn't work under VWAP, but the second one can. Just don't want USO to be crashing through VWAP when you're entering a short position.
Yeah. Okay, so Netflix did come back down in. I mean, we were, did quite well to get out of it where we did. I only have 10% left now. So unfortunately, we did, when the market was coming in there, it's like believe in yourself a little bit, in which we do, obviously. But, we did get out as this was starting to, I didn't even think, I was just like, nah, man, we don't want it. We don't want it. This market's coming in too much. And Netflix does give you that major level there at 93. I'm not going to reload it, but we did get it. This was pretty much most of the outs were right here between 30s to 40s. And then for some reason, I was just sitting at 50 and they gave us that fill. That was the highest. We got as high as about 60 there. I'm going to try. I don't have any, I have an offer at 70s right there, up near the 200 period. So maybe that is our next area where we wind up getting filled on Netflix. I mean, that's what I'm going to wait for right now. So if it's there, it's there. If not, we'll be patient with that trade on Netflix. And then we've been emptying out our clip over here as well, obviously, as we just been In this 1 minute, I bought 5 times right there. Just a little nervous that maybe we were getting a little carried away here with this move down. NVIDIA has been leading the way lower. It's 168 and it's trying to bounce. Tesla did get that big push lower as well, down into 360. Looks like the low of 360, 130s there. Nice little bounce back for Netflix as well. So, for Tesla, good job over on that one.
Actually, you know what's leading the way lower? You haven't mentioned yet?
Meta?
ARM is down 7.6%. To put in perspective,
don't own that one.
It has now come, it's right back to when the news came out. So look, it's just back to a couple of days ago, but you have to remember this stock was up 15 or 16% on Wednesday, I believe. Yeah, it was Wednesday. So crazy move down, and ARM giving up the entirety of the move, almost the entirety of the move therefore. And look, on the daily chart, it still doesn't even look all that bad, but looking pretty nasty for him. So leading the way to the downside today, it seems like, unless I'm missing a name, it's going to be ARM. I like what's going on with USO for now because it's catching that bid on the higher low, but it hasn't resolved. Like we catch a bid, if the next leg is down, that's a break of the trend, and it could be a signal to exit out of that SMCI short. I didn't reload it underneath VWAP here. It didn't quite press in, so I wanted to see what happened with the USO. But as long as we hold that trend line, I think we can start getting back into that bad boy. Did I hear Adara? Was that correct? No? Okay, my bad. But yeah, my bad. There is still that, ARTL.
Yep.
Artelo bias line.
The halted.
So I'm obviously this will end up being a 10-minute halt if you've been paying attention. So the up halts, instantly back into a down halt here. The tap is $10. It's halted at 1080. So this one might be, I'm not saying it's done, but it's got its first pullback of the day and looking like it's going to come back at least into this $10 area according to the tap. Should be open in 1 minute, everybody, if you happen to be trading. We always say you got to take your profit when you get a chance.
Yeah, that's and right now we get it.
Still be in the money though.
Yeah, oh yeah, and even silver came back up. I'll address that in just a minute. Right there, there's the cash coming in on Netflix again, man. So there we go, man. We've paid for our monthly subscription, so that's good. Nice move up there for Netflix as they increase prices, and all we do is increase our share size to pay for that monthly subscription. And here comes, we said we're going to wait at 93.69 for that. It just gave you another reload, by the way, at 93. So, if you guys are looking for some trade ideas, and, that's the thing that everyone's looking for, right, is sort of that little hand-holding situation. We're doing that. Oh, there it is. What's up, Bears? Right there, but there's Netflix right there, 93 long. I mean, we wrote that down. We talked about why we like that level. We talked about it earlier today. If it comes in, we want to take it. Be very, very patient with it. That's exactly what we did, man. And it comes to 93 not once but twice and hits that. So there it is, man. There's the trade right there for you on Netflix. And we also, of course, we don't have the TQs any sort of levels written on. for the TQs here today, but you know, this has been our number. This was the only trade I made yesterday, was a short right around this time, and there today as well. As we just get that fill, they're at 65. Wow, what a move lower there. Still waiting for Netflix, and yeah, there's silver, man. Someone said, "Oh, you're gonna get revenge on silver?" And no, because I didn't read it right. You know, I don't need to get back into it. This is a decent level right here for SLV. I still like the short. But look, guys, we are absolutely bleeding down. We've now hit our, we've already talked about it. We've hit our goals. It's been a big, successful day. It's been a huge week. Although, obviously, the portfolio is not doing that well, the market, you know, will figure that part out. I'm not dip buying anything. I know there was some, you know, talk yesterday of maybe some lows coming in. I don't think, I mean, we talked about that with... not Brian. Oh, yeah, was it Brian? Yeah,
Steve.
Yeah,
and, Brian, we mentioned
and Steve.
Brian talked about with Brian on Tuesday, but because everyone's every guest can be talking about the same thing. Market pullback. So
it's like people thinking about what levels are key there, and you get another 1% down today. So yuck on that one. iBit. I mean, you know, we had that short written down, but right now crypto just continues. Oh, you're shorted now.
It
so
just hit the third point of a trend line, which is the only problem is it's not. This is not an A because it's not at the volume weighted average price, which I'd like a little bit better. Because remember, yesterday I just zoomed the wrong direction. Yesterday it was about 10:30 when we lost VWAP here, consolidated under VWAP, and it was even like this little longer trend break. Everything was lined up for that VWAP short that ended up being kind of the one. This is a bit different. This is just 3 points well under, maybe play it, scalp into the low of the day kind of deal here for iBit. And then remember, it's not even iBit or Bitcoin that's been the worst. ETH has been taking it on the chin even worse than Bitcoin. It's down 3, iBit's down. Oh, they're the same today.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Usually it's been ETH a little bit worse, but you're coming into some big levels for them as well, whether you're watching BMNR or whatnot. And yeah, for that USO, if you're continuing to track oil, which if you like the short, it's going right back and bouncing off the highs. It seems like we might just have one of these kind of days where you just grind higher on oil prices. And if that's the case, I know Oxy has looked pretty good. Let's have a look in on that. That's just pulled clean. Look at that wick into VWAP. Pretty good on Oxy.
Yeah.
There.
Well, that's VWAP? Okay.
Yeah, but that's a pretty deep candle. Still, Oxy looking incredibly strong. I like that one for sure. And Jacques is saying, look at the short interest in USO.
What? Why?
Short interest. The problem is...
I never thought about looking at that.
Yeah, but like it's the short interest on an ETF that follows the commodity. How much does that really tell us? Because what's going on in the futures markets is going to dictate a lot of price action as well. I would think that's tricky. I haven't looked, and it's not that we can't look. It's just I don't know how big of a
call it up. Maybe it's big. I don't think that matters because we don't know how people are using it to hedge. I mean,
exactly. It's based on a commodity, and that makes it very tricky to read too much into technical data like that. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it on my...
No, I mean, I agree. That's the whole discussion that we're having there. I think that is...
I don't have data on it.
Oh, it doesn't give it on Benzinga? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to look either. We can check out FinViz, but I just don't have that open right now. That's a good spot to look for short interest in anything. Okay, so just quickly... so you got to have an out, right? I mean, as this market's starting to go higher, we just got some more bids down there at the day's low. I mean, look what we've been doing. It's not by fluke that we've been catching these bids there. You know, we just came back into the lows of these candles and we just sat there. So it's just like right now I'm going to put another bid. I don't know if this is going to hit. It seems like we're getting a little excited right now about this market. But I'm going to put another bid mid 80s to catch the low on this candle if we can get that good. But yeah, I've already put the stop in and I was like, if we get back up breaking right now, that 50 period moving average. I mean, yesterday on the TQs, we actually didn't break it till about noon, right? And so that gave me a little bit of a pause for concern there today, as it looks like right now we might break it. So I want to get out if we do break that $40.10 spot, and you know, we'll give a little bit back, obviously, if that's what winds up happening. So, you know, we got to wait. I don't know.
Oh, USO's breaking. It's breaking.
Is it? Okay, I was going to say, I didn't know if today was going to be that big day like we all had sort of hoped for. Not hoped for, but was thinking about there in the market. USO's breaking down, so that would mean the market, of course, breaking high.
Yeah, this is actually looking like a trend break to me now on USO. Distinctly.
Yeah.
I tightened my stop on SMCI. SMCI is bouncing off VWAP or bouncing upwardly off VWAP. But USO has kind of broken this trend a little bit, which did signal to me that maybe that's a spot to get out. What? Trim. That's like the other side of it. Just decide to trim and then reevaluate if that's going to be the case.
We got that low bit.
I didn't reload SMCI here, even though it seems like an obvious one. If this closed under VWAP, this candle here with a topping tail, I'll go for the reload with the tight stop. But you got to watch out what's going on with oil. If oil decides to make any kind of a flush, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought you get a trend break because some kind of a tweet came out or a truth or, heck, I think the president would be moving the market when it comes to oil. If that's not going to be the case, I don't want to overreact. So trimmed a little bit of iBit there as I just saw this breaking that trend, and that's about it. In the chat, Shadow Rap says Micron long right now.
Might be right.
You know what? That's a stock that we talked about this yesterday. The forward PE is 6 on Micron. And I say that almost laughing. It's a stock that's had a forward PE in the single digits plenty of times. I mean, quite often it's had single digit PEs, but not during this memory crisis. Not at all. So this is distinctly different. And I still think this is, I don't care if it's up 2%. If it can't crack 370 today or 370 to 375, this stock is still in trouble. Like all you're doing is pulling a little bit of yesterday back. Sometimes you get that 2-3% bounce day, you start feeling good about it, and then you forget the fact you were down twice that before. So you got to keep that in mind when it comes to Micron and just how bad it's been the last week and a half. This rally hasn't done much of anything yet.
All right, so like we just talked about it on the sticky note again, the top trade idea for me today as an individual stock was Netflix, and there it is, man, now 85 cents in the money on this dip buy into 93 bucks. So there it goes, man, 93, nice move higher, 93 to 94 bucks. Right there on Netflix. So we are going to empty out the clip a little bit up here again on this name. And yeah, just go yeehaw on that one. $93 into that. It's on the sticky note. Go find it at Trader TV Sean. And by the way, although the Qs, we talked about, you know, where we wanted to put that bid. We put it right there. We got it at 83. It does come back in. It does go down into 76 again. So let's just hold out, man. Maybe the move is not where we think it is, and maybe it does pull back just a little bit right now. As Neil mentioned there, a potential break in USO trend, but we're going to just hold on to this, and we do have our stop already breaking right here, $40.10. We'll get stopped out if that does happen, but we got pretty good there as we just have a piece back in. I only have 25% left. So we did pretty good getting out, but yeah, well, we won't even lose on this last piece. I mean, we're short at 40/40s. So, you know, if that winds up happening, good. It looks like a good out on Netflix there on VWAP, so that will play so far there. And then just a quick back look on SLV. There it goes. We said we weren't going to get our revenge on that short, and I'm glad that we didn't. You know, sometimes if you make a wrong read, that is completely fine as well. And then NVIDIA we had written down as a local short. That's still low. So ARTL was your halting stock of the day, Artelo, and that is going lower right now as well. So nice move up to 12. Looks like 1 halt, 2 halt, 3 halts, 4, and now making, yeah, will there be more? We shall see here on Artelo as it's coming back in though, but still up 183%. What was the news on this one again? The cancel? Was it just the cancel of the offering?
They were going to do an offering, and then they canceled the offering. That's the only thing I'm aware of on Artelo. If there's something else, you know what, Dara's going to find it if there is. But unfortunately, well, fortunately,
that's it. That's all.
That's everything. There you go. Thanks, Dara. Thanks for the confirmation. But we just broke through VWAP, downside USO, upside on SMCI. So it's still like it's under our entry price, but that's still the volume weighted average price because we're trending down is going to also trend down. It can be a reentry if it closes back underneath, but I need to see it close back underneath. Otherwise, no good. Oddly enough, iBit is not going up, so that's actually coming right back into the downside. Given the fact that we're falling in oil, I'll take the low of the day if we can get it, just because the market seems like it's turning for me. If you get a chance to grab the bottom before that happens, oops, I just put that at the wrong penny. If you get a chance to grab the bottom before that happens, I think you almost want to. And we're going to go back over and show you what was just happening. There's USO. You're at that precipice here. If we lose the bid, that's a bigger confirmation that we could be getting that turn. But this is exactly where you want to bounce, would be off that volume weighted average price. So come on, USO, give us the goods.
All right, we have a super chat there if you want to put it up there. A venture dog, it looks like LA right there. So he's going to talk about silver a little bit here. There it is. Thank you. Yeah, I'll take a coffee too. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Sean. I started watching SLV after you got out. Good. Got the pullback long and the break through the high of the day to go hike with the 13 dogs. Sirens. Make sure you get some of those little baggies with you, if you know what I'm saying. That's a lot of animals there. So yeah, shout out to you and congratulations. So there it is, man. Yeah, you saw me get rinsed out of it, I guess, right there, and then bought the dip. Good level there, honestly. Like, that's what I was saying. You know, just because I'm thinking short doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to be, you know, the rite of passage there. And it looks like today, yeah, the long was right. And again, like, this is part of it, right? There's the low. We have like sort of a higher low there, right? And then a higher low there, and then another higher low, and then boom. So this is why, like, I don't look at technicals like that to the extent, because I'm just trying to trade off feel and bigger support and resistance levels. But that one right there, you know, making new highs, or sorry, lower highs, is definitely something to look at. So congratulations on that one, Adventure Dogs LA. I hope it's going good over there in LA. And yeah, you know what kind of, not the little baggies that maybe you guys are thinking, you know, I'm talking about the, you know, the other kind of bags. Coming through there. So, all right, let's go over to Adara for some small cap recap, and then I'm going to review the broader market.
Let's take a look at some of today's most interesting or biggest small cap movers. We're started here with HAIT, this high-tech global penny stock right now trading around 13 cents. News on this one is actually, I guess, that their global sales agreement with Maxim was terminated by Maxim. The stock seeming to like this for whatever reason. $3.5 million market cap, 6 million share float. Let's move on here to ONCO. This is On Kinetics, a name that has rallied in the past, a little bit off pre-market highs. No news on this. We do have a $3 million market cap, 580,000 share float, 9% short float. Last but not least, ARTL, Artelo Biosciences, as mentioned here. The story for ARTL involves a withdrawing of an SEC filing. Basically, what's going to happen now is they are not going to be doing the stock offering, I guess, that we thought they would, or selling some stock rather. So market cap here, $7.5 million, float of 700,000 shares. Back to you.
Adara, for all of that. We want to give a big shout out to everybody watching us live on TikTok, everybody watching us live here on YouTube. Shout out. Hopefully you guys are doing good there today on your Friday. It's always a nice day, no matter what the weather, and although it's pretty cold here in Toronto for a Friday tonight. We're excited. We've got the Jays going on today. We've got the Raptors. I'm going to be at one, Neil will be at the other. And we're going to have a lot of fun today, that is for sure. But okay, Amazon down 2.7%. Yuck. Google, I mean, it's not, you know what, considering where the market is right now, we're not that bad, are we? The Qs right now down 1%. So many of these stocks are kind of floating around as well, trying to figure themselves out. AVO, AMD down, Cisco down 2.7%. Some of the strength that we saw Target yesterday with a little bit of strength there. Today it's Amazon that's down. That's not going to be a retail story today. There's Target up 1.86%, so we really like that stock. Walmart 1.5% as well. So some of the retail sides are starting to go. Energy names. We got that super chat earlier about energy, and it was like kind of like stay the course on energy. By the way, Netflix right now at, thank you, close to day's high right there for Netflix. But some of the energy names continue to rock. That's been a great trade for sure. Eli Lilly breaking about, I don't know, is it broken through $900 there? Eli Lilly. Oh, I got to get, here, what is that? How do I get that sheet up? There it is right there. So Eli Lilly right now, yeah, 892. Whoa. Yuckity yuck right there for Eli Lilly, as that's all the way back in again. And the financials, like, again, like, yuck, man, just not doing well today in the space. So, you know, down pretty good.
Issues aren't going.
No, and that's what we're saying. Like, just because the war is on, you know, we do focus obviously on energy and on all of that. But yeah, there's some weakness definitely in various spaces. And one of them you may not expect it, and that's financials. And look at Robinhood. Holy crap, man, down another 5% today. It just keeps on bleeding lower and lower and lower.
I think SoFi is like 4.
Yeah, just, and look, yesterday I called Robinhood $50. I mean, I don't, And it's not that I called that's where it's going. I mean, if you have one more day like today, you'll be at 60, and now it's down 6% and going lower. And the only reason I said that is we've had just such an epic move up when everything was all rosy, right? I mean, this is Bitcoin's high. This is the market's high back in October, November, and Robinhood enjoyed that. So obviously, you can't sort of have one without the other. You know, if the market's going to be weak, and we do so. Private credit, that's going to be more financials, not Robinhood story. But as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and like, when's the last time I even showed you guys that whole chart of all the crypto names, right? It's been a minute. So, you know, just...
Oh, it doesn't look very good.
I think it's lost that interest. So I just looked back into here. It was just kind of like this little break area was $50. And then you could have gone 50 to 150. So there's a lot of juice in Robinhood. There's no doubt that this name will once again be great again. It's just a matter of when. So, you know, Webull, SoFi, some of these fintech names just have been crappy. And look, okay, so
that, by the way, Bitcoin just broke the lowest.
and I was going to say the market, like, in surprise to me, I didn't expect to get all the way back here as well. But there goes the TQs right back into the lows.
HOD.
USO is HOD.
High of the day. Just now.
HOD, high of day. Okay. Yeah. So there it is, man. That makes perfect sense for me. There it is, man. The money bag happening right here on the TQs one more time there today. So I only have now we're down into, let's call it about 15% left. So let's just hold this for the rest of the day now. We did get that break of the 50-period moving average, but fortunately, we don't use it as the exact level. Remember, we were saying 40-10s, so we did almost get stopped out there, but that's why you got to have your stops in, right? And we'll just have that key area and still see if it's a negotiated spot there as well. And then Netflix, we didn't get anything out at that last move up, but now that we've seen view up a couple times, that's now at 88, so we'll put an offer at 85, get out of half of what we have left and see how far Netflix wants to run if this market does truly want to go higher.
Yeah, so I did look, obviously iBit hit the low of the day, and there was a sharp reversal in USO, which it seemed like it was breaking down, and it broke back up, so that would have been the wrong decision to get out. But now there's a distinct trend line, which I'm going to fade, which would mean short pops into. I'm going to save it on the 3 minutes so I don't lose that trend line. SMCI, okay, that's actually holding up here. However, SMCI's got a similar thing going on, which I got to pay attention to. That now has also a bit of a three-pointer right into the volume-weighted average price. I might re-enter that trade. Your ARTL for Artelo. Yeah, it counts. You know what? This bounced off the halt level. So the initial halt level at $8.50, $8.50, I should say, not the time. That's where we found a bit of a bid. So that and VWAP are holding. It still looks pretty good. So maybe it's not dead. Sometimes that first down halt, you think it's going to be all done. We just had well, let's just throw the super chat up here if we can, Andre. Or I can do it. That's fine. Thanks. Son of Daniel Cheese Tycoon. Hey, I'm invested in your cheese dispensary idea. I think it's.
I was an early investor. I actually cashed out.
You cashed out?
Yeah, well, I thought that peak was at its highest.
I made the mistake of
private credit,
mortgaging everything and going in.
Yeah, it's a big mistake.
You're having a very green day today, but every time I start to think about going long, Admiral Akbar pops into my head and says, "What did he say?" It's a trap. Mm-hmm. That's what he says. He's got something like well, you know what he has to say. Yeah, I don't know what makes you go long yet. Right? Like it's even when I thought a second ago, well, it was a few minutes ago, that we're losing volume weighted average price and oil was gonna go lower and blah 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 blah. Look at the reversal off of VWAP. Well, that didn't happen. I mean, at all. Like it's the complete opposite. So I'm with you, man. Like we're in a market where we're saying guilty until proven innocent, which is exactly how justice does not work, but in the market, that's how it does work. Mm-hmm. No, it's just true. I think it's a better way of saying the trend is your friend. That's how you try to think about it. Like the trend hasn't broken. Thankfully, look, Intel was the losing one today. It broke trend. I was up getting a coffee, and I maybe missed it by about 10, 15 cents, but I was able to get something here as it broke the support level. This is going to, this will be one of those, well, we might have missed it early, but I remember yesterday, if you picked it up anywhere, it eventually was an all-day trend. The only thing going, though, is we just got the low, and this is the low of the week, and then there's one more down here at 43 even. 43 is a huge level for Intel on the daily. Like, see how it holds the line, and it's a Friday. and it's 1%. So I just feel like that's going to be a spot to look for a bounce. Big optionable levels, big support here on Intel. But yesterday I was saying I've had some concerns about this. Look at how the resistance has been shifting from in and around 47, 48 to, oh, now we can't seem to creep past the 50-period moving average. I think that's starting to look, I mean, it's already not looking that great, but it's starting to look a little bit worse. I'm worried about a flat bottom break here at 42 on Intel. I'm not talking about that as a day trade. I'm talking about like if you hold Intel shares, because I trimmed some more at that 50 period, thinking if it gets bad, this thing could see the 200 period, which is like that's a good 20% lower here on Intel.
It's definitely not looking great.
Well, I mean, what is?
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. What also is if you're battling with some of these prices, it's because you're not sure what to do with your positions, and I think it's just one of those things where we had that super chat there about looking long. I mean, if you're looking for a resource, man, I mean, this was we put it right there. Netflix. This is forget about it, but this is a big trade today. You're talking about a dollar club right there from 93 up to 94, and it wasn't hard to find. We talked about it. Everybody over here liked it, and I took it. So it came right in there. It came actually in twice. So what you actually have to do, and we say this all the time. Fortune favors the bold. I mean, I did have to step in there and take it, and it's just like I did get out, and I even put that on my post there on the board, right, when we put it up there on Twitter. I said I did get out of some. I was nervous when this made a move back in. We actually got out of like half of this for like 10 cents or not even, and then it popped. So it is kind of like plug your nose and hold it and hope for the best, and that's what happened there with Netflix. And now I only have 5% left. So a bunch of outs there. I told you, the big out for me was in and around this 50 area. Like the market was still coming in and I couldn't believe it. So, but the real big trade, and the same thing as yesterday, and we just do it on back-to-back days. And I think just to answer, more questions about trading and about the mentality of trading is something works for you yesterday, you can get right back into that same thing again here today. And that's, we actually timed out yesterday's short on the TQs around the same time, right? We were short this time yesterday, and then it just printed all night, all day into the close. So, we're still going to try to hold this. I'm still going to, like I mentioned before, man, we only have about 15% left. So we'll try to hold against this 40-10 area. But I do have some bids. I have a bid at 55. So breaking the low, we're at the low right now. If we can break that low, then I'll wait for 10 cents underneath, right? What that low right now is 58. So we'll try to get a 55, and then we'll see if we bleed after that and where we go from there. So, so far so good there on the downside for the TQs, and so it's printing out for that one. A name that was strong. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, okay, good, we'll get to those super chats. Name that was strong yesterday was Apple, so Apple up there today again.
Yeah, I'll throw it back. I was pulling it back so you could say that about Apple, but
that's okay, yeah, let's go.
It was K-Derm in the chat.
K-Derm.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Apologies if I'm not. Why is Rattle not moving?
K-Derm.
But crude is ripping. I think the problem becomes, and this is symptomatic. Like this happened every single time we get these major oil shocks, and you have these small cappers which just go parabolic because they have low floats and they have big short floats and all that stuff. And when the conflict starts, they go absolutely ham, and the shorts get squeezed, and then you catch the back end of the trade. And remember, well, what's the actual net benefit to them for these higher crude prices? When this all started, like in January, this was a $1.50 stock. When volume picked up, this was $3.80. This is up from when the conflict started, still, 50, 60% if you just bought it at the start of the conflict. 60%. So it just doesn't have as much juice, because when you start thinking you're at the tail end of it, these things usually go back to where they are. Now, I was surprised. I actually thought that maybe it would be doing more than this, but yesterday was a pretty big hint because oil kept up its uptrend all day long, and this made fresh lows all afternoon. That's why we're calling it broken. I was ready to, it's one of these. If USO loses the bid, it's one of these that I want to be short, because they're already incredibly weak. It's not the same as being long Occidental or Devon Energy or Diamondback, as you were talking about before. If it's Battle, if it's TPET, they're just not the same breed. And there was one more super chat, I believe, we want to get to. Oh, it was Adam James abroad. There's actually two, sorry. Boots on the ground over the weekend, but Trump will say something at 4:05 today, and then again at 7:55 Sunday, just like he tried to yesterday, 10 minutes after the close. I wouldn't be surprised if we get comments trying to boost the market if we continue to trend like this. the real question is, will it do anything? You know, and hey guys, hey to you as well.
up?
Thank you for the super chat there. ARK is FX.
ARK is FX.
Hello. So we love the
hey,
easy messages. Just nothing else in there. We appreciate you. Whether you're coming in from YouTube, whether you're coming in from TikTok, we appreciate all the viewers for sure. Twitch, wherever it might be. Rumble, if we're up on Rumble yet?
But I don't know.
I don't know if we're up on Rumble yet. X, of course, we're there, and we mentioned
X,
TikTok
Twitch,
and
TikTok seems to be the favors over there. All right, AMZN. We saw. Oops, that's Blue Ocean. AMZN right here. There it is. Click it over. Oh, come on, Blue Ocean. Get rid of that chart. There we'll look to see. Just make sure we got some bids out here for TQQs. Look at this. Ugh. Netflix as well. I mean, first of all, the whole market. I mean, we're at the lows right now. So Amazon getting hit again, down another 3% there today. And I felt like we had talked about this before. You know, at this level for Amazon, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to pick something up here for Amazon. But we've seen Google lose the bid, right? We've seen Meta lose the bid. We've seen Microsoft lose the bid. So when we talk about the Mag 7, Amazon probably not immune to losing said bid as well. I mean, Google, I thought 280 was going to be a buy zone for me. Chart change, down 1%, and maybe that might be correct. I mean, there might be some buyers in and around here because with the market downside and other Mag 7 names down more than 1%, it's actually Google trying to battle a little bit back off of that 275 marker. So maybe that's the level that everyone's now looking at, 275 or so for Google. There as well, Meli. What is that Meli Libre or whatever that is? Mercado Libre there. 52-week low, yeah.
Split?
No, it's still $1,600.
I don't know.
There. Didn't people say, wasn't that the Amazon of South America or something there? So, yeah, it's really strong there in Brazil. So it is South America there. 52-week lows. I mean, that's you can have it up on the chart.
I got it up. It's actually breaking down right now. Look, I don't think anybody trades
Netflix
this thing.
doing
We trade here, but tunnel continues. Mad Max. We have a Mad Max graphic. I don't know. Oh, maybe I don't have it.
Oh, I have the Lambo.
Yeah. You've got it. That's our Mad Max, not the Mad Max you're probably thinking of because you're probably thinking of the classic movie. No, Mercado Libre. But the thing about breaking these 52-week lows, you broke trend a while ago. You could make the argument that here is I'd say you broke the trend in here because you would draw this easy peasy, right? Like, well, you can do better than that, but you broke the trend somewhere in here and then tried to get back to 50 period or the 200 period and lost it. And then there was your confirmation, and now it's dumbfest. And when you're, again, guilty till proven innocent, being at a key price level for support sometimes doesn't matter in this kind of a pattern. Because when you have this long of a trend up, I don't care how good the company is, when it starts to break down, some big money starts to come out, and like institutions want to get their money out, and blah, 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 blah. Or at least trim, I shouldn't say get out, trim is the better way to think about it. And then the bottom can be very elusive. If you're trying to guess at it. So this is another one. Still kind of silly they wouldn't split.
Yeah.
I don't understand the reticence for some of these companies to split. Like, what's the downside? To me, it's only upside in that you maybe get a little bit more attention in the options market for retail.
That was always the idea. And then all of a sudden you could start to do tokenized trading and this and that. So I don't know if like partial shares is going to be a thing or not and could help save many of those companies from splitting. But
I just think it's cool being a $1,600 stock.
I don't know because like
you don't get any extra points for it.
Right, so I was going to say like that story is old now. Like who really cares about the price of the stocks anymore? But yeah, definitely a good story there with MELI. And if you do like the story, I mean, probably something worth having a look at, as we just heard from Andre. It is a popular site there in South America. So, but again, with the market and everything sort of trying to bleed downside a little bit, no names seem to be too safe with that anymore. Vistra.
There's a bull market. I hit the wrong bull.
Netflix, Vista Energy.
That's the wrong bull graphic. We have higher quality. That's
okay. Good. Yeah. Hit the higher.
Yeah,
quality.
That's the higher quality for obvious reasons. The old one was challenged. Let's just say. But Vistra looking very good. I bet you, I shouldn't make the assumption because you make assumptions, you better make a you-know-what.
Yep,
hey, GEV's actually down 1%, so maybe not. The GV had been relatively strong most of the way up, but now a little bit of catch up for some of the other bad boys. Vistra looking, this has felt like it was not doing what it should have been doing for a long time, if I'm being real with you. And holding the low looks good here. I like this name. I prefer GV. I own GV, but I felt this one wasn't getting its juice. The problem I think was the valuation here, and maybe that's still going to be an issue. But it is relatively strong. We just hit 43, and again, this is just me, but this is a target on Intel. I even said in the note, if it gets down to 43 bucks on a Friday, look for a potential bounce there. So it does hit that low as the market heads lower. SMCI is not really doing what I want. Why is SMCI so strong all of a sudden? I pivoted over to Intel because like it broke that trend back in, and then SMCI, which was the one, is still kind of struggling to get there. I think now it looks a little bit better under VWAP. So now I'm going to re-enter short off VWAP if I get any kind of a pop. But the shorts just keep winning.
Yeah, man. Face slapper, cash register, no matter what graphic you hit, right there. This is what's been happening. And there goes the TQs, man. New lows. We talked about bidding 55s. We get it right there. It breaks back down below. And yeah, man, the hits just keep on coming right now to the NASDAQ. So hopefully you guys are short. And we've been short all day today. And, you know, with good reason, we continue to hold on to that short as crude continues to go higher. There's been some talk there. I mean, you know what? Like, the boots on the ground can't get on the ground until another week or so anyways, and that's pretty much why, is what I'm seeing from the chat, why a lot of people think Trump delayed that, you know, till April the 6th, when they believe that they'll be more ready for, you know, combat or whatever winds up happening there. Of course, in the Middle East, we hope for the best resolve possible at this point. But yeah, the market's still going lower. And the thing is, man, no longs, no cry. We have Netflix there, and it just touched again at VWAP. So we do take, yet again, man, another piece out right there of VWAP and go hee-haw to that one, because Netflix has been an absolute banger. If anything, man, Apple right now, I don't know, we just lost our position board. We'll try to get that figured out for you guys. Again, I can just probably bid something here and get it right back. Yep. Okay, so Apple right now might be at a buy zone. I just want to give you guys that look. We're finally back into the 200 period moving average there for Apple. So if you are interested in said play, Apple could be looking for something right now in and around this 253 zone. So, you know, you could catch a bid there. Generally, we do buy bids off of 200 period moving averages. So, you know, maybe something there for you guys looking to dip buy. Apple could be a play, and I actually don't mind the level that's at right now on your 1 minute chart for AAPL. Again, a strong name, you know, actually up today. Unreal that we have anything that's even up today. It's Apple, it's Netflix, it's yeah, and pretty much that's it. And then you had Vistra up a little bit as well. So
if it's oil related, you're probably fine.
Look, man, I hope everyone's enjoying. I hope everyone, despite looking at your 401ks. I hope everyone's enjoying the show. It's been another big day, and we want to thank you guys for watching. So I'm going to go 2 for 3 Netflix. The only loss that we have is a quick one on silver right there, which managed to really work out for us, but look what's happening now. So shout out to the gentleman that was rolling around in his gold thong bikini holding long silver calls, and he had tweeted us yesterday, super chatted us yesterday and this morning, and congratulations to the long silver, and enjoy your day on the beach. Dara, it's 10:40. Let's go over and see what she's up to at the big desk.
There is actually some strength to be found in this market, so we'll start there. Industrial services to the upside, energy, minerals sharply to the upside, of course, in tandem with oil. Consumer non-durables doing quite well as well. You've got some of these tobacco names, Altria up 2.5%, Philip Morris up just over 1%. Utilities doing well too. You've got CEG Constellation up over 3% here, so that's kind of an AI data center related play as well. Nice name to look at. Other than those sectors, it's really hard to find any strength. Finance, basically right across the board here. Health tech, with the exception of Johnson & Johnson, to the downside. Intuitive Surgical down nearly 3%. DHR Danaher down 2.5%. Producer manufacturing quite weak. Transportation quite weak. You've got DoorDash and Uber both to the downside. Consumer durables red. Health services red as a group. I couldn't find any news on the sector, so it just looks like a market-wide move. Commercial services weak. Retail trade to the downside with the exception of Walmart, and of course, these tech companies. I mean, the only green name that's standing out across these two tech sectors is really Micron, up 1.5%. SanDisk also up about 2.33%, and Ciena up 2.33 as well. So some of these kind of optical and or memory plays seem to be faring better than their peers within tech. Back to you.
AT&T, not bad. There's just not a heck of a lot. I was sort of looking through as well. My goodness, the credit card companies, 2.5 each to the downside. The worst stock, well, at least, look, the worst stock on my quote board, and my quote board is not indicative of what's the worst in the market, but it's Coinbase in mine, and it's 7% down. And it's into the void as well. Coinbase is headed for a huge double bottom at 140. If it can bounce there, great, but you better hope and pray that Bitcoin doesn't lose 50,000, or Coinbase is going to have single digits on it. And if we continue this trend, I think Bitcoin seems like on the daily chart that we're headed to that 50,000 mark, at least based on the pattern that we're seeing. But I want to try this reload on trend lines. We're getting a slight bounce in the market. Stop me if I said this before, because another high got made in oil and then a slight pullback. So it's dip and rip and dip and rip. And that just means if that continues, then short the pops on things that are trending. The next available pop that I'm looking at, because Intel doesn't seem like it wants to, is going to be iBit, as it's trying to catch a bid here, come back into the trend line, take a short. I'm willing to reverse this at some point if there's an all-day trend. That's fair. I don't mind it at all. But Bitcoin has been diving for a while. Like, you throw this up, you tell me. What does that look good to you? Anybody? Look bullish? Keep zooming out. How far do we zoom out on a 15-minute? Still not looking very good. Then you go to a daily chart. Yeah, it looks bad. That looks really bad. This is what happened the last time we lost one of these like bottom channels that we were in. Bitcoin only fell from 90, and within a couple of weeks we were at 65. So, you know, if it repeats that pattern, 50K doesn't even seem that crazy. Like, if it does what it did last time, it would be more than 50K that it goes down to. Yeah. So I think that would be almost a relief if this resulted in only 50,000.
Bitcoin on the way up, and then everyone just goes shh on the way down. We'll see how far it goes from here, as I'm still long BTC as well. But yeah, definitely not a huge part of the portfolio. Never really had been, so pretty okay with it, but definitely want to pick some more up. I think there's some value, obviously, in Bitcoin at some point. It's how low is low, right?
The thing that's weird to me is because logic, like the whole logic for a lot of people is like it's the whole money's getting printed forever, so the fact there'll only be 21 million of it. If that's the thesis and nothing else, like you're not talking about utility and you're not talking about it as a hedge or safe, then why wouldn't you only be buying dips? Like I'm only ever, if it's upward trending, only buying the support level. If it's downward trending, only buying the next leg down, because like you chase trends up because you think there could be explosive growth and blah, blah, and this and that. But if it's really just this thing that you think at some point in the future, people will realize we've printed too much money, and then it's like, yeah, only so much of this, then you only want it when it's giving you that dip down. It never makes sense to me to buy highs. No, yeah. Exactly. But you know what? You buy those dips and it looks bad for a while, and you just kind of weather the storm. But trending, you short it as a day trader, and that's all you can do. And by the way, our good friend, well, I don't know if it's our good friend, but it's somebody's good friend who hopefully had this one this morning.
Bye, TQQ.
Artelos? Right, that's something like that. Artelo. That's holding VWAP. This is still very, very strong. But there is a seller in here at that 10 to 1050 level that's been winning for a while. So this is still not very tradable. I find that there's probably traders that can do something with this. See how it's giving you actual trade, not going halt to halt. This is just utter nonsense that it's doing. Because if it breaks 850, like where are you getting now? Like 750 on a halt down, you might get trapped. It's going from halt to halt as we currently speak. So, but it's still holding out pretty good. Like if you're holding this one from the pre-market, definitely hasn't fallen apart just yet.
Yeah, just I mean that's a good one, but you could just also just take real trades today. I mean, you know, like just looking and trying to figure out where you actually think the market's going. I mean, all of us sat. This is why I think we've been having a good week. It's like it's just been red. You know, like every day we wait for these pops. We actually talked about that this morning. It's like I even called up, it's the exact same trade we had yesterday on the Qs, right? We had this exact trade yesterday and it was a banger. So we do it again today and it's happening. Like we shorted, this was the early morning yesterday in the TQs, right? We shorted that. This was the early morning the day before in the TQs. We shorted that. This is today's move. We're short. You know, like it's not, trading is difficult. You don't have to make it rocket science. You know, you try to pick your way, pick your direction. And we had that with Steve yesterday. I asked him, what's your process, man? And it was all about like, you know, figure out the direction, then look for something, you know? And that's like exactly what we've been doing, man. I only have 3 ideas today and, you know, just sitting in them and waiting to see if they want to work out. That Apple does not, I mean, we just looked at that breaking through. Remember, it was at that 200 period there on, and this is what I mean about having an opinion. Like that was there at the 200 period right there on the 1 minute chart. Generally speaking, that would be a buy, but because the day is so red, I'm not sitting in there and buying that, right? We had to take the risk and wait for that take on Netflix. And not only am I like, you know, hopefully doing as we preach here, but also hopefully getting the message across. Like once this came in, I was nervous. We were in the short, the market was coming in. So I did bleed out of this a little, all for profits, but we did get out of that because we were nervous. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, and then it came up to VWAP and we were able to clean it out. And the same thing with the TQs. We said, you know, if this breaks back down below, we wanted to get some out. So we're getting more and more out right there. We did have 15% left. We now have 10% left. And it's trying to break right now the 50 period. Yesterday, we didn't break the 50 period until about noon. Maybe we're going to do it a little bit earlier today, heading into the weekend. So I'm going to put my stop and then wrap this baby up very, very soon, man. Let's get out of half of what we have left if we break this area right there of 80, and then we'll deal with the rest of it. I got 10 minutes and I'm out of here, and then we're back at 2. So 39, right now 82s. We'll do that, and we'll put out how much shares? Okay, how many shares? We'll get out of 50%. So it looks like right now it's going to stop me out. And this is not algorithmic trading. This is just hands off. So what it's going to do right now is there it goes, sends out that trade. We get out of half right there. And now we don't have to worry about this next little move higher. We'll just wait to see how high Netflix wants to go now off of those levels. My guy Marvell today, we can have a quick look at that. Like we had said earlier, a lot of these names today are going to get hit back into the downside, especially names that have been strong, right? Marvell is a good spot to go in there. If you're nervous, why not take advantage of the last couple of days, get into some cash and wait for lower bids, right? And I think that that's what happened there with Marvell today. And, you know, I'm surprised it didn't happen to Target, actually. Target now taking out new highs. There's just a lot of people not in this name. So we love Target, man. Target, I am long Target at like $84 or something like that. And it's not even that long ago when we were all talking about it. And so there it goes. I said it even maybe switching out of Target and into some Walmart. Glad we didn't do that. Target right now printing, and Walmart, I don't know, a very small dividend, if anything. Target quite a large one. So definitely like that position as opposed to Walmart for right now. It's a Dara with money talks, and then we'll figure out what's for lunch, and then we'll talk about that, you know, what, and then Joe's gonna have to give his rating later on in the day, and we'll go from there. So
I got a bad feeling about lunch.
Yeah, me too. It hasn't been tilapia in a minute, so we'll see if that's what's gonna come through today. But yay. Look, we'll go through this update that actually matters, and then we'll do what's for lunch after that and have some fun in the last 10 minutes, Adara.
Let's take a look at this U.S. dollar. This is actually kind of interesting here. We had this high from Monday, 101.15. Today, we touch it literally on the dot. Then we push back lower. We're back below the 100 level after briefly breaking it. Let's talk about this University of Michigan consumer sentiment print, which is by far biggest data we had today, and I would even argue all week. Now, this is really interesting because there's a lot of different messages kind of being conveyed by the different aspects of this print. University of Michigan consumer sentiment itself, final print for March, 53.3. So that's lower than the estimate of 54 and below the prior 55.5. So that basically implies, I guess, a little bit less enthusiasm from consumers than we were expecting. But then we get to the inflation prints, which are really interesting. 1-year inflation expectations for March, 3.8%. Now that is going to be above the estimate of 3.6 and the prior print of 3.4. But then you get to the 5-year inflation expectation print here. 3.2% was the print compared to the prior, exactly in line here with the prior 3.2% and below the estimate of 3.5%. So long story short, we are seeing higher 1-year inflation than we were expecting, but 5-year inflation little bit maybe less worrisome than we were thinking was going to be the case here. So interesting look for that consumer sentiment print, and I think definitely worth breaking down. I did check the CME Fed Watch tool. We are still expecting rates to be held throughout the year. Back to you.
I'm getting a poll ready because I saw someone in the chat like, what's the market going to finish at? Well, I'm going to fire something up, which gives us a chance to give a few options in here because we can actually do this the right way. So I'm going to type it live for everybody in here. And it's simply, where will the SPY close today? Let's go with the S&P because I think, that's when people say the market, we look at the Qs because I think that's, for a lot of traders, that's momentum and such. But we'll talk about the SPY here. So we'll go green, any shape of green. 0.0001% or a bajillion percent to the upside as long as it's V-shaped. That'll be 1. 2 will be down between flat and 1%. Down 1 to 2% will be 3, and I will add a 4th option, which is down 2% or more, and we'll start the voting right about now. So 1 is green, any shape of green for the SPY. Down 0 to 1%, we're going to go with, we'll say, I'm kind of feeling the 2 myself. But I'm going to go with the 1 to 2% because I don't think we'll get past the 2%. So I'm going to type in 3 for myself. You guys do whatever you want, and we'll see what ends up starting to lead the way. I don't know why. Something's going wrong here, Fabian. It's not? Because I'm seeing the chat go ham, and it's not populating. So maybe we'll get this one fixed. We can get this one going. I didn't break it, Fabian. I didn't break it.
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. But we're going to go to what's for lunch as we get that all figured out.
As long as it's not tilapia.
Right now, it is not tilapia. So today's flag is one that we've either had, and I've never mentioned, well, we've been mentioning the flag ever since. I don't remember mentioning the flag of Hungary there today. So very, very interesting flag there.
Budapest is a great city, by the way.
Yes, it is, man. I've been to Budapest. I went to Budapest as a very young one, opening up and training traders, and actually start as when real trading had basically no offices around the world. They sent this guy around the world to help open up some offices, and the very first stop was Hungary. So shout out to Hungary, right there, real trading. That was over 20 years ago. Man, am I old. All right, today should be a good one, man, I think. I don't know, we'll wait. Pork stroganoff there today. I don't know.
Pork.
Buttered, pork stroganoff. Buttered egg noodles, roasted veg, and chef's choice salad. The unfortunate thing is I'm not on the pork menu, so we'll have to wait to see what's going on there. Lunch.
You don't eat pork?
I do. I love pork. Yesterday we had some great sausage, man. I did wind up going to Farm Boy. We had a maple chipotle and cheddar bacon. No, a couple times here the pork has not been pork-like. So I backed away from that. And so we'll see. Hopefully, I mean, whatever. If it's any good today, we'll get back on it. I'm off the tilapia and off the pork around here. So, but love it. Love pork, man. I had sausage this morning, man. We had some nice.
But why the no pork here? That's what I'm curious.
Oh, it was one day I couldn't even. I can't remember what day it was. It was like
That's fair.
Thank you very much. And I still remember the one day that Brendan was eating. It was pork here. And I didn't have it, so I asked him how it was, and he said he thought it was chicken. So, okay, all right, it's 10:56 right now.
That's questionable.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to everybody having chicken-flavored pork around these joints. All right, so Netflix does go right back into 93 again. Was any of you brave enough to take it? It goes right into 93 and right back up to 93.50. So Netflix still working out for us there. Quick check back in on gold and silver as we get ready for the midday show. Our flagship show goes off in 3 minutes. Gold right there up 3.3%. Ed still making new highs as this day continues long for the commodities. We did empty out of half of our TQQ position. That next stop is at 40.10s, and then we're out. That's GLD. Silver right now as well. This is the only trade that we have a bobo on today, and small one, of course. And there it goes right there on silver. Short, and out. Then it absolutely collapsed, and we were like beside ourselves, and then it just ripped up, and I was even asked, are we getting back in? And I said, no mas. We did not read it properly the first time. I'm not going to take a shot again at silver, and there it goes, man. Shout out to the dude in the gold thong making a whole bunch of cash today in silver. So that's going to be a good one.
That's what he said.
And congratulations to you for having that one on there.
Sharif's laughing, but...
Sharif's laughing because he also has on his gold thong, but you just can't see that right now. Oh, my bad on that one. That's just a little private between me and Sharif, right there. All right, so iBit, nice bottom again at 37. And the funny thing is, of course, man, 37 long. I mean, at least today we followed our plans, man. We got Netflix at the level that we wanted to. But to be honest with you, iBit Joe does not get down to 37. It got to 37.20. So not good enough for me, but that was a level that we looked at. And the reason why I liked iBit down here, and I'll just show it to you and then we'll throw it back over, was based on, I just call up a 30-minute chart or whatever on iBit to go back to the beginning of the year. And I wrote it down beginning of the month. I wrote it down on the note today, on the sticky note, that we were going to go iBit. Oh, maybe I need to zoom way back out. There it is right there. This is 37. So this goes back to the beginning of the month. So that was a spot. We zoomed all the way out to find that, and then we wrote that exactly on our note. So hopefully you guys are over there on that. There's iBit 37 long. There's Netflix long. There's silver 62 area short. We tried and was wrong. Got out to 62.05 on that one. But there's iBit 37 long. Back to March lows here. If we dump on options worries, fine. We want to be there for that. Be patient. I still think it's there. So, and oh my God. Look what I even wrote before this. Bottom could be before this level. Oh, man. Okay, I need, Joe, I need you to create that bot that just takes all of these trades, no problem. But there it is, man. iBit, 30-minute chart back to its monthly lows of 37 and change. One more minute left, and then we go back over there. So those are my trades today. Netflix long, obviously this TQ short, and then the silver dump off. So good day there today. Nice to end a Friday positively anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I've only had 3 shorts today, but iBit's not going to be a reload because it just broke the trend. So like the all day, it's not an all day trend because it's just the all morning trend, but that just broke. So it's a wait for VWAP or wait for a 37.8 if we're still going to even like it. But I can't get away from this downward trending until something distinct happens. If you're just going to do this, what we did yesterday in USO, that gentle glide higher, then it's fine what's still setting up as the short. Now, SMCI doesn't look like it as much anymore. It's really holding the line here very well. We didn't make any fresh lows when the market was breaking fresh lows, so the early short was the only one that worked. Intel didn't work early, then did after. That's holding on a little bit better, so I think Intel at VWAP is going to look good. If we can break this consolidation down and oil doesn't do anything crazy, that's going to make sense to me. Before we throw over to the midday, Skilo wishes they were a little bit taller, wishes they were a baller.
Yeah.
Good, and you would call her. Wish I had a rabbit and a hat. Anyways, asking if Tesla is crashing. You know, oddly enough, Tesla is just back above VWAP here. So of all the things, like, so just to give you an idea, the reason it matters is, well, the market ain't at VWAP, not even close. But Tesla is a little bit relatively strong. So sometimes you can be a % greater than the overall market down, but your short-term momentum is better than the market right now. It's making some higher lows. That said, it's still down 1.8%. We're going to throw over to our good friend Joey Options and Sharif the Professor. We'll be back at 2 o'clock after we have some, well, I guess I'm going to have the pork.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to see it. I want to actually have it. I'll probably take some. Well,
yeah, you're gonna have.
Yeah. Last time chicken tasting.
It's going to be good.
See you, everybody.
Peace.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey, there it is. Good morning and greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Options. I'm Sharif, and it is a nice sunny day outside. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's a little nippy, but I can go for the nippy.
Did you see the temperature on Monday?
Sun. No. I don't really care what the temperature is next week. You know why, Joey?
All right.
I'm gone, Zeno.
Right,
I'll be here Monday, but then I won't be. So shout out to Mr. Leahy. Shout out to Bryanston. We got Tariq. Shout out to Blackhawk Bot Ricks.